Welcome in, everybody, to the Rant. I'm Pugs Moran, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E-Gallery in Dallas's fabulous design district. We do this rant, yours truly, Pugs Moran, every day, Monday through Friday, round about noon o'clock. It is my attempt to do talk radio the way I think talk radio should be done. That is not, I always say non-divisive. I'm pretty damn divisive, if I'm being honest with myself. I got opinions, I got hot takes, and I'm going to share them, and that's what this show is about. Us, all normal people, normal Americans coming together to talk about the world, not getting entrenched in like one ideological point of view or another, just normal people who, are trying to do our best to not get banned from our family's Thanksgiving. That's what this show is about. This show is not for everybody. It's for what I like to call the 70% normal group of Americans. We got 15% on the right who are nuts. They are nuts. They're gone. They're crazy. We got 15% on the left. Same. 30% of this country we can't do business with. 70% of us, I think we can get shit done. We don't have to love everything about each other, but we can get shit done. So that's who this show is for. 70% of us who are done with the 30% of this country who are absolutely out of their mind. So once again, how do you know? What grouping am I in, Pugs? I have no clue. Well, we've got a simple little litmus test. Have you ever been arrested in a Target or a Walmart because you didn't like a display they had? Okay? If you have, you can't listen to this show. I don't want you. I want you gone right now. Have you ever gone viral because you threw a tantrum on an airplane and screwed everybody else's vacation because, I don't know, something weird was going on? If that's you, you are not allowed to listen to the show because you're not normal. Normal people do not go viral being evicted from an airplane seat, okay? And of course, this is the easiest one. If you're still invited to your family's Thanksgiving, you're allowed. You're welcome here. If your family is welcoming you to their dinner table, you're welcome here. That's what we do. We've been doing it for 3 years. We're heading into the 4th year now. We are in the 4th year. We have completed 3 total years of this every day, Monday through Friday, and attempted doing talk radio the way I say it should sound. How does it play out? Well, I perform this every day as a stream of consciousness because we have no commercials. We have no breaks. We have no stops. It's just me talking about the world. And it's a stream of consciousness. So, there's no... It's just whatever is next in my head. The next thought, boom, I say it. It goes out there. That can be troubling, but, I've hemmed it in a little bit. So I've created 4 quarters, 4 categories in this show. And that's what I'm focused on the entire length of the show. It keeps me, keeps the rubber on the road, if you will. Quarter 1, we call that antecedently on this day. It's just this day in history. I go through a couple of things that have happened on this day in history and we tear them apart. We talk about them. We're like, is this interesting? I don't know. Quarter 2 is birthdays, people born on this day, celebrity, happy birthday, or I don't like that guy. That's what we do in quarter 2. Quarter 3 is deads. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. Shout out Jim Carroll. People who died on this day, we like to take a look at them and open up their life's resume and decide where do you think they went, heaven or hell. Quarter 4, everything else. Quarter 4 is all the hot topics, current events, the trends. We got a speaker battle. We got Cybertrucks blown up in Vegas. We got this nut down in Bourbon Street. We got Aaron Rodgers talking about how it's going to be the last. We got college football playoffs to talk about. We've got Rudy Giuliani desperately trying to hang on to his Yankee rings. We got a whole bunch of stuff that we got to get into, news that people are talking about. So what do you say we get started? All right. Small talk segment. I didn't tell you about the small talk segment. That's kind of what this is. There's introduction, which is what we've just done. And then there's the small talk segment. And then we get into the 4 quarters. Small talk. What do I got for you? So I live on the campus of SMU. Y'all know that. And there's a bowl game going on at SMU today. I don't know, some nail salon in a strip mall in Frisco is hosting a bowl game at SMU. Miss Lee's Nail Bowl. The Miss Lee's Nail Bowl. Presented by... I don't know. Anyway, I ran into some traffic. Not too much traffic because it's a bullshit bowl. Nobody cares about this game. Well, actually, I should say there are a lot of people here that care about the game because it's UNT, right? North Texas. They're taking on some other pretend college here that I've never heard of. It's a Texas college, local. It's a local college. It's probably like 2,000 miles away, like right down there on the border. Texas is so big. Texas is too big. I think that somebody once told me that like the drive to Chicago, like if you drove from Chicago to Texas to Dallas, no, it was Chicago to the Texas border is not as far as Texas's north border to Texas's south border. Something like mind-numbing like that. Like, are you kidding me? Anyway, traffic wasn't too bad. Traffic wasn't too bad because nobody cares about whatever bowl game is going on the SMU campus right now. Nope, there's no crowds. There's no nothing. It's like, There's a little bit of a longer line there at the stoplight to get on 75 Central off Mockingbird in front of the football stadium. But it was nothing. I'm like, I thought there was a bowl game. And they got cops. Oh, they're hoping it's bigger than it looks to be. They got cops on all the intersections, and they're just standing there looking all lonely because there's nobody to help cross. There's no pedestrians. Anyway, here's another thing that I got to share with you in my small talk segment, and a shout out to my friend Ed Silla. He is the grand poobah here at Radio Misfits, radiomisfits.com, our parent company, our host company, radiomisfits.com, and soon, coming weeks from now, Radio Misfits Dallas will do the official explanation of what that's going to be all about. But Ed saved me. Ed Silla sometimes pops up in the chat room. Ed saved me. Now, I told you that after every presidential election, every 4 years, I tend to get really depressed because I don't like any of them. And what I do then is I jump back into the West Wing. And I've done this now three times, actually. It's been my third re-binge of the West Wing. 3 presidential elections, the Wednesday after, I'm like, I need to have faith in American democracy again. And so I'll re-binge the West Wing. So I've been re-binging the West Wing. And tragedy occurred. I watched an episode at like 7:30 on New Year's Eve. Like 7:30, I'm like, my kid's downstairs. He's gaming. We're going to do our big New Year's Eve celebration. If you listen to the show, you know about me and my son's New Year's Eve. But it was before that. So I'm like laying around and he's playing video games downstairs. So I pop on an episode of West Wing on New Year's Eve at 7:30. I watch it. I'm like, all right, very good. Now it's on to the New Year's festivities. And later tonight, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, I might watch another episode of the West Wing. At least that was the plan. So New Year's Eve happens, and, it's that time of night, New Year's, about like 1:15. 1:15 New Year's Eve when you didn't go out and you're home and you're in bed and you're like, the person you're with is sleeping and you're like, well, I'm awake because I drank coffee at 8 o'clock. So I went over to HBO Max to resume my West Wing binge. The West Wing left HBO Max at midnight, New Year's Day, whatever that was. Gone and available nowhere else. So here I sit now. I'm like in season 5. I got like 2 more seasons left. I'm like season 5, episode 12 or some nonsense. And I need to continue my bit. So guess what? Ed Silla from Radio Misfits. He made it available for me. He sent me all the episodes. I can watch all the episodes now. That's what friends do for friends. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate you. Also, I should mention this because we got a birthday that coincides with this today when we get into the birthday segment. I watched Gladiator 2, a review, if you will. Gladiator 2, I told you about how my son wanted to see Gladiator 2. And I wanted to see Gladiator 2 because I love Gladiator. The original Gladiator from like, what was that, 2000 or something? I don't know. Hold on a second. I'm looking for something. I can't find it. Son of a bitch. All right. So my son wanted to watch Gladiator 2. And I'm like, have you seen Gladiator 1? He's 15. And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, you got to see Gladiator 1. Because Gladiator 2, is a direct sequel. It actually references the stuff. Part of the entire plot of Gladiator 2 is based on the plot of Gladiator 1. Kid, if you didn't see Gladiator 1, so I was so mad. But he didn't want to see Gladiator 1 because that's an old-timey movie made back in the 20th century. He says shit like that all the time because he knows it bothers me. That wasn't even made this century, is like what he says. So we tried to watch Gladiator 1. He didn't make it all the way through. It's a 3-hour movie. I did. I got all the way through Gladiator 1, and then without him, I just rolled right into Gladiator 2. And let me tell you, it is, I saw them both back to back. It's very good. I enjoyed Gladiator 2 very, very much. They did the things with the Colosseum that we'd always heard they did with the Colosseum, but we weren't shown in the original Gladiator. In the original Gladiator, they never flooded the Colosseum and had naval battles with sharks. That's in Gladiator 2. Gladiator 1, they never rode a rhinoceros. They had rhinoceros battles. That's Gladiator 2. Gladiator 2 is awesome. It's good. I highly recommend it. If you want to see it this weekend, it's definitely dad porn. What's going on? Do we have a... Hold on. I'm monitoring the speaker vote. Hold on. Let's see what's happening. They're all applauding for something.
As well. But frankly, Terry, to be honest with you, Mike Johnson is in a much better place than Kevin McCarthy was 2 years ago, roughly.
All right, so the big story that we're not going to monitor it because we don't like to do politics, but this is how the sausage is made, and we're electing a new Speaker of the House today. Mike Johnson is a bit embattled. If you haven't been following the news, they're holding the vote right now. Everybody's applauding. I don't know what's going on. Very slim margin for him. We'll cover that when we have some results here, but I'm distracted by the ongoing vote. Okay, so West Wing, I got access to that now. I like Gladiator. Gladiator 2 was really good. That's it for Small Talk. There you go. Small Talk segment. Say hi to the chat room. Hi, Peter. Peter's here. Peter says UNT is in Denton. Texas State is San Marcos. Okay, so those are the two schools that are playing at SMU today in the bowl that nobody cares about. Get Pugs to adjust his camera. What's wrong with my camera? There's nothing wrong with my camera. I'm seeing it fine. Is there something wrong with my camera? I have no idea. Hey, this show, as I say, it runs on your gratuities. It runs on your tips. It only exists because of you folks. You drop a little something in the Venmo, you drop a little something in the Cash App, whatever you need, whatever you can, and the show continues. You support. This is like a little mini PBS we got going on here every day. If you like the show, you pay for it. We need to make X amount of dollars every month. It is a loss leader, this show. Of course, I'm trying to do other things, but this is the way we've been doing it for 3 years. And every day, the person who tips the most becomes the executive producer. Well, we haven't gotten tips in a couple of days. Christmas always slows it down. You got to focus on your family. I totally get that. You guys got to focus on your family. But we did get a really nice tip yesterday from somebody. So thank you so much to April for being today's executive producer. I have to put all this together over the week, but we've got to start our pledge week on Monday. It's the latest we've ever started a pledge week. It's I don't pay my bills on time anyway. That's me. That's the kind of American I am. I'm constantly opening those envelopes going, yeah, I don't need this one yet. They can wait. How many notices is this one? I say to myself because I'm not married. But thank you to April for helping us out. If you want to help control this show's future, all you need to do is drop a little something. You can do it in the Venmo or the Cash App, and there you go. We do it like this. I'll leave that up for a little bit, just in case you're so inspired. I'll have the number on Monday. I'll have a number that we'll need to make next week, and I'll debut that on Monday. I don't think it's going to be as big as normal, but it is a number, and it's coming after Christmas, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's get started. Let's do the rant. It's Friday. It's Friday. It feels like a Friday. Finally, a day of the week that feels like the day of the week. We've had nothing but Fridays for the last, I guess, Wednesday, which was New Year's Day. I guess that would be a Sunday. That would feel like a Sunday. But then Thursday became a Friday again. And then Friday became a Friday. Monday, we go back to work. Here's the one thing that I know for certain. Monday is Monday. Black Monday in the NFL. A lot of coaches going to get fired. Will McCarthy get fired? I hope Mike McCarthy does look a little personal business here. I hope Mike McCarthy does not get fired until after the Chicago Bears hire their new coach. I swear to God, if Mike McCarthy gets fired in Dallas and gets hired in Chicago, I'm going to lose my shit. Can't happen, won't happen. I won't allow it. Jeff's in the chat room. Jeff says, I run my house like the government does our country. on a deficit. That's how you do it. It's how everybody runs their house. Your camera is partially impaired by something on the upper right corner of the frame. So like my face is impaired? Like I'm looking at it right now and it looks fine. All right, so now I got to go over to the live stream on YouTube, don't I? Yeah, I do. Let's see what this nonsense looks like. All right. Am I going to slip into a vortex? All right. I don't see that on my end. Let me make it bigger. Oh, I see. I see what that is. What is that? It's this thing, right? Hold on. There's something right here, right? Is this what you're talking about right here? I don't know what that is. And I know why I don't see it. I don't see it because of the way I have my screen. All right, so I can't see it because of the way I have the chat room open. Okay, but I see what you're talking about. Yeah, what is that? Oh, here we go. Watch this. Hold on. No, that's not it. What is that? Is it this? What is it? What the fuck is that thing? God damn it. And now I'm moving the camera. So this is stupid. This is so stupid. Sorry, guys. Little delay. But I obsess on this stupid stuff. Yeah, all right. I see. It's good now. And I think I figured out what it was. All right. Thank you. You guys don't do that, Peter. That was not worth the distraction. I thought like the face was covered. Don't do that shit. You know how I get. I get like all weirded out and then I can't focus on the rant, which is what we're going to do now. All right, let's get started to the rant. Here we go. It is the rant with me, Pugs Moran, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E Gallery. We are RadioMisfits.com. Radio Misfits Dallas coming soon. It is the third day of January. January 3rd is the let's see, what is the third day of the year? There you go. How hard was that? Can you believe I stumbled on it? I was like, January 3rd is the what day of the year? There are 362 days remaining, and it's going to stay that way. The days remaining is going to make sense this year because no leap year. Last year we had a leap year, and it was out of whack by a day, and it was no fun. Let's do the first segment 1, quarter 1. We call that Antecedently on This Day. It's where we take a look back at some of the events that happened on this day in history. We cherry pick the ones that I find interesting. All right, here we go. Antecedently on this day in history, 1959. I mean, there was shit that happened before 1959, but why bother, right? 1959, Alaska is admitted as the 49th state. Welcome to the party, Alaska. You big, beautiful dummy. That's what Alaska is. Alaska is a big, beautiful dummy. Alaska is masculine. So it's not feminine. It's not beautiful feminine. It's masculine, beautiful. So it's like a big dummy. It's like, who's a big, beautiful dummy? Who's a guy who's, it's Tim Tebow. That's what it is. I was watching Tim Tebow last night on College Day. I'm like, he's a big, beautiful dummy. That's what he is. Congratulations. Welcome to the party, Alaska. The Tim Tebow of states. Simple, beautiful, simple. Antecedently on this day in 1961, during the Cold War, after a series of economic retaliations against one another, the United States officially severs diplomatic relations with the rogue state Cuba. Cuba. Well, we don't even acknowledge them. They're like a high school swimmer could make the swim from Miami to Cuba. I don't know, probably not. Whatever, it seems easy. People do it. It's like right there, and we pretend they don't exist. Cuba doesn't exist. I want Cuba back. Hey, Trump. Hey, Trump, shut your mouth about Canada, you big dummy. We ain't taking over Canada. But what do you say we make Cuba a state? Let's go grab Cuba. Let's do that. I'd be all for that. Why is Cuba so important? Why is Cuba so much more important than Jamaica or the Bahamas or Puerto Rico? Is it because it went communism? It's because it went communism, right? I think so. I think I've nailed it. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat there. Antecedently on this day in 1977, Apple Computers Incorporated. Wrap your mind around this. On this day in 1977, some dude in a piece of shit 72 Datsun probably pulled into their little county offices and filed the paperwork. Dude got back in the car and went, I just started a company. Hope it turns into something. Apple Computers, officially incorporated on this day in 1977. Antecedently on this day in 1990, the United States invasion of Panama, we went and got Manuel Noriega. Yeah, I'm totally fine with this. This is what America should be doing. Look, we here in the North America, maybe you got a problem with us being the world's police. I don't. That's our job. That's who we are. We're the bouncer at this bar. The bar is Club Earth, and we're the bouncer. Like it or not, we made that decision. We could have become the bartender. We could be Sweden or wherever, some other place that has nothing but good shit because they're not always getting into fights like us. That's what we are, and that's who we are. Ship has sailed. All for the Manuel Noriega. The dude was like, okay, so this was back when we still believed in the war on drugs. Like, we thought we could win it. We thought there was a way that we could stop the cartels and Americans' gross consumption of narcotics. But, so Manuel Noriega was like causing all kinds of problems for us in the drug war because Manuel Noriega owned the banks in Panama. And Manuel Noriega allowed his banks in Panama to funnel all of the cartel money. And we, the United States of America, we said, hey, Manuel, you got to stop doing that. And he said, fuck you. And, well, we know how that ended up for Manuel Noriega. And that's essentially the long and the short of that whole thing. He was allowing drug cartels to launder their money in Panamanian banks, and our DEA and war on drugs didn't like it. So we went down and we acted. We initiated regime change. Oh, my God. Nobody ever thinks about that because they didn't fight back and it went well. It went well for us. Put him in a jail in Miami, old pineapple face. On this day in 1990, United States invades Panama, deposes leader Manuel Noriega and arrests him on drug charges. On this day, antecedently in 2009, the first block of the blockchain of the ready for this? Ready for a bunch of words you never heard before 2020? Here we go. The first block of the blockchain of the decentralized payment system Bitcoin, called the Genesis block, is established by the creator of the system, Satoshi Nakamoto. There you go. If that means anything to you, you're a dork. Ugh. I know. Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that. I don't know what it is. I still don't understand it. I've spent the better part of the last 5 years really being like, all right, I'm going to try and understand this. And I just don't understand it. And you know what I think it's like? Or at least I'm hoping it's like. So up until I was about 17 years old, I had no concept of how a stick shift worked. I drove an automatic transmission everywhere, automatic. And then suddenly I was like, I'm a guy. I should probably learn how to drive a stick shift. So I started dating a girl who had a stick shift. And she taught me how to drive stick shift on it. And I have loved driving stick shifts ever since. I mean, it's my preferred car. I love stick shifts. But there was a moment, and it came while I was practicing driving the stick shift, where I went from not having any concept of what this is, and I'm just to where it clicked, where I understood where I was moving the gear shift into. And how I had to open the door. She explained it to me the way her father explained it to her, which was you hit the clutch to open the door for the hole you want to put the shift in. And I just thought, man, that clicked. And from that moment on, I'm like a great driver of a style. I mean, I love stick shift. It's my preferred way to drive a car. I'm hoping that I have that moment with blockchain or Bitcoin where I finally fucking understand what it is. I don't understand what it is. And it was on this day in 2009 when all that nonsense started. All right, let's get started. That's quarter two. That's quarter one. How about quarter two? That's it. That's what we're doing. Birthdays. Bottom. They claim it's their birthday. Got no idea. No idea if it's really their birthday. They say it is. Here's one. Here's a guy. We have no idea if this is his birthday, but it's listed as such. So born on this day in the year 106 BC. Cicero, ladies and gentlemen, Roman philosopher, lawyer, politician. Cicero, a great philosopher. Dude said some shit. As a matter of fact, dude, one of the great. Okay, so here's what I love about Cicero, the first talk radio host. If you want to be honest about it, that's what Cicero was. He was a guy in his time who said the things and had the hot takes and, all of that. Cicero had figured something out. Now, remember the year. He was born in 106 BC. One of the things that Cicero said that I was reminded of in the film Gladiator 2, because it's quoted in Gladiator 2, and I went, man, that is such a fucking badass quote. And it's a quote that shows that even in 106 BC, which would stand to reason, people of that time looked around at their fellow humans and went, this is some flawed shit. These people's instincts are not moral. These people are not. He knew that. He understood, as I do, how difficult, how flawed humanity is, and how hard it is to live a good life, to be a good person. The individual choices that have to be made in moments, in a split second, that determine whether you're a good person or a piece of shit. Cicero in 106 BC understood this. He said, I love this quote. I don't want to butcher it. Let me make sure I get it right. Okay, so Cicero said, the slave dreams not of freedom, but of one day owning his own slave. He said that before fucking Jesus, okay? Think about that. The slave, the Roman slave, he's talking about Roman slave. The Roman slave doesn't dream of one day being free. They dream of one day enslaving someone of their own. That's humanity. Cicero got it. That is just their version of the mansion in the hill, right? Voting against your own best interests. Because one day they might accept you as one of them. Cicero understood humanity. Born on this day in 106, Cicero. Born on this day in 1892, J.R.R. Tolkien. Lord of the Rings guy, wizard weirdo, dork, not into any of that. I was like probably 10, 11 years old. We took a field trip. This was my first introduction to the whole Lord of the Rings thing. Took a field trip. I'm like 10 years old. We went to a play. It was a In the Round. You remember? I don't know if that was a 70s thing or something, but it was like the play is performed on a rotating stage. So no matter where you're sitting, you're seeing half their asses, at a time. It was weird. It was difficult, but it was like a theater in the round production of The Hobbit. It was The Hobbit. 10 years old, field trip. I'm out of school. I'm watching a play. I'm in a different place, a place I've never been before. You'd think I'd be excited. I was bored to tears. I'm like, this sucks. And I like plays. I've always liked play. I like live theater. That sucks. I don't know. I just thought this is dumb. Elves and Wizards, J.R.R. Tolkien. English writer, poet. What is a philologist? I don't even know what that is. Isn't that a philatelist? Isn't that somebody who does stamps? What's that? I don't care. Born on this day in 1892, J.R.R. Tolkien. Born on this day in 1926, George Martin, music producer, one of the all-time greats. I mean, you talk about Phil Spector, you talk about Phil Ramone, you can talk about more modern times. Who's the dude, the beard, producer? Can't think of his name. Anyway, it's always a lot of great music producers. George Martin is considered sort of like the guy at the top because George Martin started producing rock and roll albums in a way that rock and roll to that point hadn't been produced. George Martin came from classical music. He was the top guy at the BBC as far as like producing their classical and opera and all of this kind of stuff. So one day he walks into the studio and the record label says, we got a new assignment for you. We got a new band. We want you to produce them. They're called the Beatles. And George Martin put the Beatles in a studio and not knowing anything about rock and roll, he didn't. He was a classical guy. I mean, he would eventually, after the Beatles, become like the rock and roll producer for a number of years. But George Martin, very interesting guy. There's a great documentary about him. I don't know what it's called, and I think it's available on like Prime or something, but it's about George Martin. After the Beatles broke up, George Martin bought an island like in the Bahamas. Like, come on. He's the producer of the Beatles. He's got a little scratch, right? So George Martin bought an island and he set up a recording studio. And he basically said to the recording industry, this is where I live now. I live on the beach. I've got this really badass recording studio. If you want to record something with me, just get here. Just come here and hang out. And if I like you, we'll record something. And that's basically how he lived. George Martin. George Martin's a cool guy. I like him. Interesting. Born on this day in 1926, Beatle producer George Martin. Born on this day in 1932, a guy we lost a few months ago. He's a legend. Dabney Coleman. Dabney Coleman, 9 to 5. Dabney Coleman, Buffalo Bill, the TV series he had. Dabney Coleman played every sleazy jerk that was in a film in the 1970s and 80s. Dabney Coleman. Born on this day, well, he died. He died just a couple of months ago, but born on this day in 1932. Born on this day in 1945, Stephen Stills. He and Jewel have the snaggletooth thing going on. Stephen Stills, of course, of, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. Stephen Stills of Stephen Stills. I mean, Stephen Stills in his own right is an artist and a very well, Buffalo Springfield. What else was he in, Stephen Stills? I don't know. I got very upset with my ex-wife. We were at the Grammys, and we had checked into the hotel, and we got into an elevator, and the doors opened up, and it was a woman. It was an older couple. It was like an elderly couple, or at least that's what they looked like. And we got in, and I looked at this dude, and it was Stephen Stills. And I was like, oh, my God, I bet this is Stephen Stills and his wife. I didn't say anything, but I just turned around and looked at the door, and I'm like, Stephen Stills is standing behind me. And we got out of the elevator, and I turned and I said, Mr. Stills, as I walked out, and he said, how are you, kid? And I'm like, oh, that was nice. I just had a moment with Stephen Stills. That's all it was, Mr. Stills, as I walked out. And he said, kid. I turned to my wife. She said, did you know him? And I go, did I know him? That's Stephen Stills of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. What do you mean, do I know him? That's Stephen Stills of Buffalo Springfield. What do you mean, do I know? Why don't you know who that is? She had no idea. I was like, oh, good. Dating younger women. I mean, yeah, they're hot and all that good stuff. But I'll tell you, you don't know who Stephen Stills is? It's okay. She knew a lot of other stuff that I didn't know. She was brilliant. Let's keep going. Born on this day in 1945, the great Stephen Stills. Born on this day in 1950. Here's one that I used to. Oh, my God. I did. Oh, my God. Born on this day, is it 1945? No, 1950. There it is. Born on this day in 1950. I had such a crush on her. She was like a non-traditional crush for me, this lady. Because she was like, I can't tell if she was like older. Like, how old was she when I had a crush on her? I don't know. Anyway, happy birthday, ladies and gentlemen. Victoria Principal from Dallas. Look at her. Oh, my. Can we make her bigger? Let's make her bigger. That's what she said. What? I don't even know. All right. Of course, Victoria Principal from Dallas. Let's take a look at her. That's her now. She's still a beautiful woman. That is a beautiful woman right there. Whoa, here we go. Now we're talking. That's what 10-year-old me was like. So that's what ladies look like. There she is, still looking good. Victoria Principal. Oh, my God. Why is that so hot? I'm looking at it and I'm like, that doesn't look, I mean, by all the measures, there's like a lot of boxes left unchecked. I don't know why that's hot, but for some reason that is hot. She's pretty. Victoria Principal. All right, there you go. Happy birthday. She was, Victoria Principal was part of a big hot couple, celebrity couple. She was her and Andy Gibb. Do you remember Victoria Principal and Andy Gibb? Anyway, that probably you don't because you're not weird like me. All right, keep going. Victoria Principal, born on this day in 1950, born on this day in 1952. Any wrestling fans out there? Yesterday, I gave a shout out to Mean Gene Okerlund. How about the great Jim Ross? Born on this day in 1952, born on this day in 1956. One of my favorite actors. I love everything this guy does. This guy's so... Now, I know he's polarizing because, I don't know, apparently we're supposed to not like people because of their politics, but I love Mel Gibson. You ain't never going to make me not love Mel Gibson. You guys suck. You guys who are like, you can't like Gibson because he likes Trump. I'm like, I don't fucking care how he votes. Have you guys ever hung out with actors They're weird. All actors are weird. I have like nothing in common with theater people. But yeah, he's great in a movie. I love me some Mel Gibson. Braveheart. Come on, Mad Max. What's wrong with you? Die Hard? No. Lethal Weapons. They're the same movie. Yeah. Die Hard and Lethal Weapon are the same movie. No, they're not. They're totally different plots. Okay, dummy. They're the same movie. Moving on. Happy birthday, Mel Gibson, born on this day in 1956. Born on this day in 1975. Here's another one we're going to take a look at because if you're a Gen Xer, maybe even a millennial, this is someone that you definitely are interested in. Someone I was interested. The whole country had a crush on her. Born on this day in 1975. Ladies and gentlemen, say happy birthday to the adorable everybody's girl next door girlfriend, Danica McKellicker. Of course, I'm talking about Winnie Cooper from the Wonder Years. Look at Winnie Cooper. Winnie Cooper is just a beautiful woman. She just grew into like a beautiful woman. Didn't really do any acting. Interestingly enough, the only acting I ever saw her do after the Wonder Years was West Wing, where she had about a 5 or 6 episode arc on the West Wing when they introduced the character of Will Bailey, played by Josh Malina. When they introduced that character, he was running a congressional campaign in California, and his chief aide was Winnie Cooper, Danica McKellicker. Look at her. She's a hot, hot lady. Here's what makes her even hotter. She's a genius. That's right. You know why she hasn't been acting? You know the whole Blossom thing? You know, everybody's like, yeah, Mayim Bialik, Blossom, she's on Jeopardy now and all that because she's like a math genius. Not compared to Danica McKellicker. Danica McKellicker is like, she has written like a dozen books on math. She's involved in all of these global, like high-end math. She's a math nerd of like the highest order and one of the world's most respected mathematicians. Let's go back to Winnie Cooper. Look at her. Could you imagine this is your girlfriend? Like, let's forget she's Winnie Cooper. She's just a chick you're dating. And you're like, yeah, this is the chick I'm dating. And you're like, yeah, she's hot. And you're like, yeah, also she's like the best at math in the world. Happy birthday, Danica McKellicker. She played Winnie Cooper. She's the Winnie Cooper girl from Wonder Years, born on this day in 1975. Born on this day in 1981, Eli Manning. All right, so Eli Manning. Let's talk a little bit about Eli Manning, New York Giant quarterback, 2-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, which is important for what I'm about to say because you got to make sure that you note his accolades. Now, when Eli Manning came out of college, the Ole Miss product pissed me off to no end because he was one of these guys who wasn't going to go to the team that drafted him. He was drafted number 1 overall by the San Diego Chargers, who he said he would absolutely not play for. His dad, more to the point, Archie Manning was like, nah, my kid ain't going there. They said at the time, because, people were like, well, you don't want to go to a shitty team? Who do you think drafts number 1 overall, douchebag? You got to go to a shitty team. At the time, the argument was Archie Manning didn't like the way the San Diego ownership handled Ryan Leaf and his addiction issues. So because of that, he wanted nothing to do with the San Diego Chargers, and his boy would not play for them. So they worked out a deal. They worked out a deal that actually worked out well for everybody. They figured out a way to make a trade with the New York Giants that sent both Phillip Rivers and Sean Merriman, guys they got in that draft, and they traded Eli to New York. Eli would go on, as I said, won 2 Super Bowls. Never led the league in any major statistical category. Never was all pro. I think he went to 3 or 4 Pro Bowls, but I think that a couple of those were just because better guys got hurt, and he was there. A very disrespected player, Eli Manning. But as I mentioned, unlike a lot of other great quarterbacks out there, he's got 2 Super Bowl championships and this should drive it home, he's got 2 Super Bowl MVPs, which is something that I don't know. Maybe does Peyton have 2 Super Bowl MVP? I don't know. That's a pretty nice thing. Here's why we're talking about Eli Manning, because he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's absolutely going to be in the Hall of Fame at some point, but he's up now, and he is not going to make it in. He is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no way. But because of 3 factors, actually, if you want to discount the Manning name and the mythology behind the Manning name. Here's why Eli Manning, for years and years, is going to keep your favorite football player out of the Hall of Fame. He is. Eli Manning is not going to get elected this year, but he is going to get votes this year. And he's going to take votes away from people who maybe would have needed those votes to get in. Guys who are at the end of their rotation before they get pushed over into the Hall of Fame veteran side of things. I think Woodson, Woodson's already in the veterans, right? Isn't Woodson already? I was going to use that as an example, but I think Woody's already in the veteran side of things. I say, honestly, just put Eli Manning in. Put him in. Just put him in first ballot. I know that he's not. We got to get him out of the way because he's going to clog up the pipes for the next 5 years of eligibility. People are going to get screwed over because 3 things. The Manning mythology is always going to get him votes. He's won 2 Super Bowls and he was 2-time MVP in those Super Bowls. That's going to get him some votes. And he played in New York. That's going to get him votes. They're going to be, I'm a Giants fan and I have a vote for the Hall of Fame. That is going to screw people. So I say, we know he's going in eventually. Let's just put him in now. Let's get him out of the way so that we can elect people who actually deserve to be in on the first ballot, or guys that, are on the verge of being marginalized over to the Veterans Committee. Anyway, there you go. That's my take on Eli Manning. We know he's going in. Let's put him in. He's taking votes from people who we want to see in. So let's just do it. Eli Manning, born on this day in 1981. Here's 2. I'm going to leave you with these 2. How about these 2? You telling me God doesn't have a sense of humor? Hell, I'm not even sure God exists. But if he does, he's got a dark sense of humor. Born on this day, what we like to call umbilical twins or umbilical cousins. 2 people born on the exact same day, just same year, but not related. Born on this day in 2003, both Kyle Rittenhouse and Greta Thunberg. These 2. Let's get these 2 together, huh? That's how you save the world. Maybe. I don't know. Whatever. Happy birthday to both Kyle Rittenhouse and Greta Thunberg, born on this day in the year 2000. And who cares? All right, let's go. What's the next one? The next one we got to get to is deads. That's right. Quarter 3, it's deads. These are people who died. These are people who died. Let's talk about them, figure out if they went to heaven or hell. Here we go. People who died. First and foremost, dead on this day in the year 1903. Preemptively, I'm going to put them to hell. Going to hell. Aloy Hitler. Aloy Hitler. Born on this day. Born on this day. Aloy Hitler. That's Hitler's dad. You can't have a kid like Hitler and think you're going to go to heaven. That ain't happening. Aloy Hitler goes to hell. Born on this day in 1903. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Did I have that wrong? What? Yeah, he's the father. Okay, there you go. I saw the date of birth. And I thought, yeah, okay, but he died in 1903. There you go. Aloy Hitler. We're putting him in hell. Dead on this day in 1945, Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce. Do you guys know who Edgar Cayce is? He's a guy that's kind of been forgotten. Weirdos still know who Edgar Cayce is, but he's kind of been forgotten, but he had a major impact on America. Edgar Cayce is the man who popularized the idea of psychics and mediums, and not that he mainstreamed it. He made it popular for women, for suburban women, for, there to be columnists in newspapers that did astrology. All of this stuff was because of the impact that this guy, Edgar Cayce, had. I think he's down there in Virginia, I think is where the Edgar Cayce Museum is. He was sort of, he likes to call himself a Nostradamus type, where he had all these predictions. He was a psychic. Now, you have to understand that before this point, a guy like Edgar Cayce was never going around selling his wares as a psychic. The psychic world, these people were all seen as con men. It was something that was in the immigrant class, gypsies, really, not a white, waspy guy like Edgar Cayce. He made it okay. He popularized the idea of psychic and paranormal and all of that. Edgar Cayce, born on this day, or dead on this day in 1945, he went to hell. Oh, you better believe he went to hell. He was in all kinds of dark shit. People thought he was like the devil back then. Maybe he's not, but in his time, they did. So Edgar Cayce, America's preeminent and first really celebrity Psychic. Dead on this day in 1945. Dead on this day in 1967. Yeah, we got to put him in hell too, because he was a piece of shit. He was a piece of shit, and he created a situation that just fucked us up for generations. And that is on this day in 1967, Jack Ruby, American businessman and murderer, died. We're putting him in hell. Ruby, of course, killed Oswald. Ruby was a gangster. He's a sleazy dude, okay? Jack Ruby in hell, dead on this day in 1967. All right, that's going to do it for the first three quarters. It's time for us to talk about all the things that are happening here in the world. The hot topics of today, I'm watching the latest Johnson vote. It says he lost the first vote. There you go. We're going to do this like McCarthy. Remember McCarthy? Remember Kevin McCarthy? It was like 15 votes, whatever. All right, so first vote. It appears that Speaker Johnson has gone down. Once again, thank you to our executive producer today. The big tipper of the day gets to be the executive producer. Yesterday's big tipper was April. Today's executive producer is April. Thank you so much. Longer than usual. Appreciation for April. Adam says, so voters get 5 out of 7 votes. He won't really clog up any people. Peter says, agree with that logic. Peter says, oh, Adam also had a crush on Winnie Cooper. Who didn't? I mean, that's, we have that in common, but I think me and a whole lot of dudes of that era have it in common. She was adorable. She was adorable. She was like the perfect girlfriend for the pre-sex age of, dating, right? Like, she wasn't sexy. Like, you didn't look at her like, oh, she's so hot. She was just, you want to hold her hands and go roller skating with her. Winnie Cooper seemed really kind of built for that. Now though, let's all agree, Winnie Cooper has grown up to be built for other things. She looks great. Hot. All right. Let's see here. The big story. Well, it's the speaker vote. Okay. The speaker vote is happening. Let's see. Let's tune in. Let's give a listen to what they're talking about here. Hold on.
Him wanting to sort of draw a line in the sand and continue his opposition to Speaker Johnson when there's only 3 members voting for him, for example. This is somebody who I wouldn't be surprised if he flips fairly soon. Keith Self.
All right. So here's what's going on. So a bunch of Republicans, Speaker Johnson is looking to be, what do we call it? Reelected? I don't even know. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House. It's the first day of the new session. They got to get down to the business of the United States Congress. So they got to make sure they got a speaker. They're having the vote for Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is, he's President-elect Trump's hand-chosen choice for speaker. But apparently, I don't know what's going on with Mike Johnson. I don't care. He seems very vanilla. I know he's a weirdo. He is a weirdo. Like, I've heard him say some stuff. He's a weirdo. Okay. I'm uncomfortable with the dude making the laws in my country being a little bit too into the whole Jesus thing. And he's a little bit into that. So that's uncomfortable for me. But he seems, he doesn't seem like a con man. I'll tell you that. He just seems like he completely believes what he believes. I think he's wrong in his beliefs, but hey, he is what he is. So I'm looking at him and I'm like, I don't know. Jeffries, the Democrats don't have a shot. The Democrats don't control the House. But so in order for Mike Johnson to get elected, due to the numbers, he could only afford to lose 1 Republican vote in the House. Okay, because that's assuming that all the Democrats are going to vote for their guy, Hakeem Jeffries. And, so he can only afford to lose 1 vote in order to win the election. Well, he lost that vote. He already lost that vote. Right. So he couldn't afford to lose anymore. That was Thomas Massey, Congressman Thomas Massey. He was like, I ain't voting, whatever. He didn't like Mike Johnson for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe he looked at his dick in the congressional urinal or something. I don't like that guy. He doesn't like him. He's under no circumstances. He will vote for him, by the way. I think Massey will probably come around. What's happening here in the first round is he was joined by some other people. Some other congressmen were like, I'm not voting for him, because they know that in between the first and the next round of voting, that's when the whip hits the floor. I've heard this term before, the whip. The whip is the hand of the speaker who makes sure to work the floor, convincing the people to vote the way they need them to vote to get something passed the way they want it passed. So the whip right now in between votes is working, and he's working exclusively with the people who said no to Johnson, the people in the Republican Party. Massey seems like he's pretty much established as like a solid no. So the Republicans can't lose any other no. So they're going around now and they're trying to convince the people who said no to vote next or vote yes on the next round. How do they do this? Pork, promises, bullshit. I only voted no because I want $15 million for a new roller skating rink at the rec center in my home district. You've got it. Boom. There you go. So that's how, city of McKinney gets a new a disco skating palladium. That's what's happening right now. The sausage is being made. I don't think it's going to go 15. Did it go 15 votes with McCarthy? I don't think it's going to go that long, but we are heading into the second vote here. Let me see what the latest is. Mike Johnson appears set to lose first speaker of the House vote. Are they still voting or has it ended? I can't tell if they're still voting or if it's ended.
That is supposed to happen on Monday and something the president-elect is no doubt keenly aware of. I want to get straight to ABC's Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill. And Jay, heading in to this first round of voting, you caught up with the speaker and he actually was downplaying any loss on this first round. Well, let's take a listen.
I think we'll have all the votes.
What does it say if you lose them?
So it looks like it's 215, 216 right now with 3 non-votes. 215, 216. 216 for Mike Johnson. 215 for Hakeem Jeffries. 0 votes for president and 3 others. Those are abstentions, I'm guessing. I don't know. There we go. Look, we'll cover it. It's going to be popping up throughout the show. They're probably going to be voting all day. Again, I don't think it's going to go 15. Probably 2 or 3. They'll work a couple of. All they got to do is flip one guy, and then they got it. So they'll make a deal. It'll come out of our pockets, and someplace in Mississippi will have a hippodrome built, or whatever. Or we'll continue building some bomber from the 1940s in central Indiana. Something like that will happen. That's how it happens. That's our government. All right, let's go. Second story. Let's talk about the Cybertruck nut. Let's talk about that guy. We're learning a whole lot about Cybertruck crazy guy. Cybertruck crazy guy pulled up in front of the Trump Hotel and Casino there in Las Vegas on New Year's Day morning, about 8 o'clock in the morning. Pulled up, shot himself in the head, and then the truck blew up. Didn't do anything. I mean, if he was looking to make a big ta-da, it didn't do anything. It was cool. I mean, we're all talked about it. He went out. People are talking about him. We know who he is now. His name is, what's his name? It's a weird name. It's like, let's see here. Give me his name. It's like Livensberger. There it is. Matthew Livelsberger. Matthew Livelsberger is the 19-year veteran, military veteran, special forces. Got a shit ton of awards for bravery. I mean, this is one of our sharpest tools in our military toolbox. This guy. Been in Afghanistan. He's been in the Congo. He's been in Central Africa. I mean, this dude was doing some stuff. So what are we learning about him? Well, we know that he was in Germany and he took leave in Germany where he was stationed. He came back to Colorado. He's got a family in Colorado. He's got a wife and a baby. They live there in Colorado Springs. We know that he and the wife not going well. That stuff is not going well, as is the case. We also know that he, not unlike the guy down in New Orleans, who we're going to talk about in a moment here, who was a different thing. That guy was an attacker, okay? I'm trying to draw a distinction between the Cybertruck bombing in Vegas and what we saw in Bourbon Street. Both of these guys had serious financial problems. They were overextended. They were in debt. Both of them were having romantic issues. Look, both of these guys were dealing with things that the average, and I'm going to be gender specific here, the average American man deals with on a day-to-day basis. The stresses of, man, this was not what was promised, or I did the things I was supposed to do and this is not the result, or why does this keep happening to me? And then you look across the street and you see your buddy buying that brand new Porsche or whatever, why him, not me? Men deal with this kind of stuff every day. The normal ones can process it. The ones that aren't normal, they start acting up. They start acting a fool, and then they break. And when they break, there are a lot of different options here. I think both of these guys, military veterans, both, by the way, I shouldn't need to be said about the Louisiana attacker. Guy also had a bunch of medals. He won medals for stuff. I don't know what. So both of them kind of going through the same thing. Both of them similar stages in their life. One's 37, one's 42. Not really seeing anything great in their future. So they process these things. They're both broken mentally. They both snap. And one manifests it by going out in a big show. That's the guy in Vegas. I think that he put the gun on his head. He killed himself. He didn't put the gun out the window and start killing bellhops or valet parkers or people. No. He parked an Elon Musk Cybertruck in front of a Donald Trump hotel. He blew his head off, and then he blew up the truck in front of the hotel. At a time, by the way, that he knew damn well there wouldn't be a lot of people. That guy took all of this stuff that we men have to process, and women too. I don't mean to say that women don't as well. I mean, look, I can speak for ages about kinds of things that, take for instance, a single mom has to go through. So, but it's very rare that single moms lose their shit in line at Target, and we're all like, look at that Karen. Single moms don't, rent a Cybertruck and go. So this is a man thing. Men, how we process our problems and avenues we can take when they break. So the one guy, he just wants to go out in a show. That's what Matthew Livelsberger wanted. He wanted people to pay attention to him. I mean, he did a lot of things that would ensure that. An Elon Musk Cybertruck parked in front of Donald Trump's hotel, right? He knew this would be a thing. Elon Musk is saying, well, the Cybertruck is the best truck for this because of the way it's built. It blows up and not out, and that's why nobody got hurt. Well, maybe he knew this. Maybe he knew that. I don't think that Matthew Livelsberger wanted to hurt anybody. I think Matthew Livelsberger wanted to die. He wanted to be done. He'd seen a lot, and he wanted to go out with a bang, and he did. So he took the failure of life's promise, processed it, internalized it, and then basically just took himself out. The guy in New Orleans was completely different. The guy in New Orleans going through the same kind of stuff. You look at the guy in New Orleans, he's got like 3 divorces. Dude was paying like $5,000 or not paying like $5,000 a month in child support for a bunch of kids. This guy was weird, okay? This guy, the Texan who drove to Louisiana, ran over people, jumped out, started shooting, and died by cop. He was going through the same stuff that Matthew Livelsberger was. He just processed it differently. He decided that he wanted others to pay, again, for the failed promise. He felt denied, and he processed it by saying it's everybody else's fault. We all have these stresses. We all crack. Some people crack and they get naked and they run down their street banging pots and pans above their heads, and they end up, going away to a nice little crazy hotel for a couple of months, and we all forget about it. Some people crack. They go on Turo. They rent a truck. They blow up in front of a hotel in Vegas. Some people crack. They go on Turo. They rent a truck, and they want to kill your kid. They want you. That's what that is. That's ego. That's selfishness. That's the difference between what I think is happening with Livelsberger and what is happening with the dude in Louisiana. The guy, Livelsberger, here's what this reminds me of. And I don't know if you remember this. Do you guys remember Christmas morning of like 2020, 2021, Nashville? Remember what happened on Christmas morning in Nashville? A dude packed his RV with explosives, had speakers set up all on the outside, a PA system on his little RV. And he drove it right in the middle of downtown Nashville early in the morning on Christmas when the streets were empty and nobody was there. He blasted Christmas music from his RV, and then he blew it up. That's Matthew Livelsberger. That's the exact same thing. That dude wanted to commit suicide, and he wanted to go out, and he wanted it to be big, and he wanted people to remember him. Unfortunately, we don't really remember him. We do remember the explosion, although some of us do. I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you look at Matthew Livelsberger, and you're like, well, he seems like kind of a normal guy. Well, one, he's not, because he is a super soldier, and we fuck with these guys' heads. Trust me, I know this. I worked for veterans charities for a number of years. I've been with a bunch of different organizations. I've been around a lot of these guys. And, look, it's a different kind of person, okay? You want to be respectful. You don't want to say that person's fucking nuts. But maybe that's the special. You're just a little fucking nuts. You process things differently. And here we have two examples of two American men processing the failure of the American dream in very different ways. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. What else? What do we know? Oh, the NOLA attacker. What is this? Is this new video or something of the New Orleans attacker? I'm not even going to say his name, okay? Who cares? New Orleans attack. Well, this story here is, never mind. This story here is just all about his financial difficulties and his multiple divorces. And I'll tell you, just don't get married. It's like I see this guy. He was 37 or 42. He was 42, and he was married like 3 times, but he was married like one after another. If you want, look, okay, so I guess, according to my friend James Parker, weekends or afternoons on WBAP at 2 o'clock, apparently he's, figured out the solution, and that anybody that's divorced is a loser and a failure, and that, he's perfect and all that. Trust me, he says that a lot. Clock's ticking on that bullshit. You better be careful, because I'll tell you, he's been wrong about a lot of things. I hope that's not one of them, but marriage is hard, and relationships are hard, and people get themselves into relationships, not necessarily because there is this incredible bond, but just because they think it's the thing to do. Do you know how many people I've known who've gotten married and who are now divorced, who got married like at 22, 23 years old because, well, we graduated college and this is my girlfriend, and okay, let's get married. That's not why you get married. This guy who the Texan, the bad guy. I don't think Livelsberger is necessarily a bad guy. So just for that, we're going to call bad guy and then Livelsberger. Bad guy got married like 3 times in a row. Like, he got married, it failed, and then like 6 months later, he got married again. And then it failed. And then like 6 months later, he got married again. I'm like, that's insane, man. Jesus. I got married once at 27, again at 37, and I ain't getting married anymore. Hey, should I be so lucky when I'm older to maybe meet somebody and have a nice sort of, silver journey? I'm all for it. But man, some people just need to be married. They just need to check that box. It's like, I need to be married, and I need to be married to a person. Will you be that person you can be married to me for? Whatever that means. Will you be that person that you would be married to me for? I don't know. Dudes, people are married. I know people who are married who don't even like each other. They've been married for 25 years. They have nothing in common. They hooked up in college, and now they're like been married. They don't even like each other. It's just like, this is my partner. So basically, it's more like my business partner, and it's a family business, and we're just, I shouldn't say it like that, because that's an exact quote from one of my friends. All right, I get it. The FBI last night released some new video. I don't know what the point of this is, but you remember on January 6th? Remember the famous January 6th? I mean, we've had a lot of January 6th. We've had 2024 January 26th is, or January 6th is. By my count, we're about to have another January 6th. The 2025th January 26th is about to happen, or January 6th is about to happen. But the big one, the one we know. So back when that January 6th thing was going on, do you remember the pipe bombs that were left planted around Washington, D.C., and they released some still photo back then? If you see this person, and it's like, nobody knows who that person is. They're wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, and they're wearing a mask because it's COVID. So anyway, that story went away for the whole time, and then it came back last night because the FBI, for some reason, they've released new video of a person they believe is planning pipe bombs on January 5th before January 6th. FBI releases new video of suspect planning a pipe bomb near DNC offices on eve of the Capitol riot. A harrowing chapter in American history remains shrouded in mystery. Who planted pipe bombs outside offices of the Democratic and Republican National Committees in Washington on the eve of the attack of the Capitol? I didn't know that they were planted outside the Republican National Committees. I didn't know that. AP says it. I trust AP. I'm going to believe that bombs were planted in front of both. But that's not how I understood it to be. But now I've received new information, so look at this. All right. Hoping to generate new tips from the public, the FBI is releasing more information about its pipe bomb investigation, including an estimate that the unidentified subject is about 5'7" tall. The Bureau also is posting previously unreleased video of the suspect placing one of the bombs. A host of basic questions remain unanswered 4 years later. For starters, investigators haven't determined if the suspect is a man or a woman. And you can't tell. You cannot tell you can tell nothing from the video. It's a person wearing sweatpants and a hoodie, and the hoodie is pulled up over their head, and they're wearing a COVID mask. You cannot tell. A host of basic questions remain. Is it a man or a woman? They haven't determined, nor have they established a clear link between the pipe bombs and the January 6th riot. They might not even be related. Although, let's be honest, the FBI can't work on assumptions, said David Sundberg, assistant director in charge of the Washington's office. Okay, so they put this video out. Here we go. Let's take a look at this video. Hold on. This is the FBI. So if you know this person, and trust me when I tell you, you don't know this person. You've never seen this person before in your life. Hold on. You're going to make us watch an ad? Skip that ad. All right, here we go. And there you have it. It's a very nice looking park. See, there's no way to determine if that's a man or a woman. So they're sitting on a bench. All right, so let's see what they do with that. Okay, so is this the planting of a pipe bomb? Right, they got a backpack. They're carrying it. Is that the way you carry a pipe bomb? I don't know. Is that it? That's it? That's the whole video? All right, here we go. Here's more. What's this? Holy shit. Dude, if this person, seriously, if this person is watching right now and like you want to get caught, you're like, I'm done living like this. Dude, reach out to me because there's a $500,000 reward. I could really use it. I could really use that. That's the shoes. That's not a commercial for Nike. That's like all they got so far. Those shoes. We're looking for those shoes. All right, here you go. All right, America the Beautiful. There you go. So folks, the FBI, what is the FBI looking for here? This is what I don't understand. Are they just trying to drum up, hey, it's almost January 6th. Let's stir that pot a little. It'll be exciting. What is the point? Nobody's going to recognize that person. The interesting thing, though, about those shoes, which is why the FBI is like, no, the shoes, man, that's the best clue that we've got. Apparently, there's only 25,000 pairs of those shoes. And that's a good thing. They say it like it's a good thing. Well, that shoe was only sold 25,000 times in America. All right, so good luck. The FBI just stirring the shit. What else do we have here? Okay. So here you go. All right. A plane crashed in California yesterday, Fullerton, California. 2 people were killed. 17 people went to the hospital. The plane crashed into a furniture manufacturing business about a mile away from the airport, Fullerton County or whatever airport where it was. Not a big story. People died. Big story there locally. But why are we talking about it here nationally? Here's why. It's another situation where an idiot built his own plane from a kit. All right, so here you go. All right, America the Beautiful. There you go. So folks, the FBI, what is the FBI looking for here? This is what I don't understand. Are they just trying to drum up, hey, it's almost January 6th. Let's stir that pot a little. It'll be exciting. What is the point? Nobody's going to recognize that person. Dude, if this person is watching right now and like you want to get caught, you're like, I'm done living like this. Oh my God, you people, some of you, you know what? It is fine if you want to go through life making bad decision after bad decision based on your overinflated sense of self. And eventually those bad decisions, like, I don't know, ordering a plane kit and putting it together in your garage, eventually those decisions are going to catch up to you. And if they kill you, well, you know what? You lived your life a free man, brother. Good for you. But if those fucking decisions end up, you kill Raul, who was up in the rafters cleaning because your plane couldn't make the runway because you built it in your garage and you crashed into the building he was working at, and now Raul's 4 kids don't have a daddy. Fuck you. Plain home-built airplane. Built it myself. Yeah, we can tell. Fullerton, California. How about this? I love this. Russia. You know how I feel about Russia. I hate Russia. I'm a Cold War kid. Fuck those people. They're all still communists. And even if they're not, their main goal is probably not all that different than me. My main goal is to destroy Russia. My main goal is to destroy that piece of land so that we forget what happened after World War II and between 1990, right? And then when it all fell to shit, they destroyed generations of American progress or I suppose you could say they made America because of the Cold War. I don't know, whatever. I still don't like the damn Russians. Will never like them. I like their women. That's actually Russian women I like a lot. Don't trust them, but I like them a lot. And it's the Russian people. I don't mind the Russian people. Like if the Russian people want to be, hey, Johnny Blue Jean, like if they like totally want to get into our culture and all that, great. Come on over. I got no problem with that. I got a problem with what Russia has represented to me in my entire lifetime. And what they've represented is the asshole on the block who we're constantly watching like, what's he doing now? What's that fucker doing now? And I'm tired of it. But Russia is funny. Russia does entertain me. Russia is like, oh my God, there's another reason why I don't want to live there. So check this out. Russia has a new law that they began enforcing on New Year's Eve. Basically, I don't speak Russian, so I can't even, how they pronounce this word or whatever. Here's the new law. You can be arrested in Russia for looking too gay. That's right. If you're just walking down the street looking too gay, they can arrest you now in Russia. Yeah. That's like up there with like ISIS throwing gay dudes off roofs, right? That's kind of nuts. That's a level of too gay. What is too gay? I would love to know what too gay is. Like by American standards, we have some freedom here. So we've seen a lot of gay. So I imagine that like what would be too gay for American standards, that's probably way too gay for Russian standards. Like I bet you Anderson Cooper is too gay for Russia. You know what I mean? Like here in America, he's barely gay at all. We only know he's gay because they said he's gay and he says he's gay. He's like, I'm gay. But before that, we didn't know he was gay. He's not too gay. Anderson Cooper is like, soft. He's a soft boy. He's an elite, a rich kid, a Gloria Vanderbilt's son. So he's not like, a tough alpha guy, but he didn't necessarily give gay vibes. My gaydar never went off with Anderson Cooper. So Anderson Cooper would probably be too gay in Russia, but he's just perfect gay here. He's a perfect gay. I don't even know what that means. Anyway, let's do the story. Russia fines people. Arrests and fines people. Sorry, Russia partygoers are arrested after. Okay, Russia fines partygoers for looking too gay. Arrests lead to fines, international outrage, blah, blah, blah. Okay, 2 detainees. Wait, no, that's German. How do I do Russian? Russian moose and squirrel. Boris and Natasha. Okay, there you go. I got it. There you go. I have to do Boris and Natasha in order to get the Russian. 2 detainees fined 50,000 rubles for trying to arouse interest in non-traditional sexual relations. So that's what the code is. If a cop sees you and you're shaking that ass, and you're a dude, he's going to arrest you. He's going to arrest you for trying to arouse interest in non-traditional sexual relations. Russia has fined, detained, and arrested at least 7 people for looking too gay. This after a police raid on a nightclub in Tula and analysis of the court records by an independent Russian media outlet showed. At least 8 people were detained during the operation, which videos show was carried out by men in military-style uniforms. Hot. Sure. Like if I was like one of the shock troops that the Russians send into the gay bars, like, you know, I would like, okay, so here's how I would do it. I would like totally like unbutton my like camo shirt. So I'd go in like bare chested. I'm just telling you, might be easier if they think you're hot. Handcuffs, big boy. This is insane. Looking too gay. Who gets to decide what's too gay? The judge, I guess, ultimately. I guess 2 people decide what's too gay. The arresting cop and then the judge at the end. Like the cop will be like, I'm arresting him for looking too gay. And then that guy's got to stand in front of the judge. And then the judge is like, you don't look too gay to me. You can go. Is that how it works? What is too gay? It was like, okay, so like, what's like the gayest? Like, who is like super gay America? Who's like the super gay American? Sean Hayes? Jack from Will and Grace? That's what I always think. You know, like that's like the flamboyant over the top. That's way too gay for Russia. That Jack would be on death row. Poor Jack. By the way, Sean Hayes, shout out. Fantastic podcast. I love his podcast with Will Arnett and Jason Bateman. Forgot what it's called. How did I forget what it's called? It's like my favorite podcast. That's not true. My favorite podcast is still Armchair Expert. Anyway, moving on. What else do we have here? Let's talk a little bit about Aaron Rodgers, okay? Aaron Rodgers is making news the last couple of days because this Sunday, Aaron Rodgers, will he be playing his final game in the NFL? I certainly hope so. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, Aaron. Get the fuck. Aaron Rodgers is a failure. He is he's not a failure entirely. I mean, he's a pretty good quarterback. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He was good with with the Packers. All right. He owns my team, the Chicago Bears. He absolutely does. With that said, he's a failure. He wanted to be Tom Brady. He thought, I'm going to go to the New York Jets and I'm going to win a Super Bowl just like Tom Brady did when he left and went down to Tampa and he showed everybody. I'm going to do that too because I'm just as good as Tom Brady. Actually, Aaron Rodgers, skill-wise, you're better than Tom Brady. But Tom Brady won a Super Bowl with Tampa, and you sucked with the New York Jets. Too bad, Aaron Rodgers. So will Sunday be his last game? It's a weird situation for the New York Jets because, I mean, do we even know, like, who's in charge there? Is this Woody Johnson making all the calls? They need coaches. They've got, what coach is going to want to take the job with Aaron Rodgers as the starting quarterback? I can't imagine that's going to be enticing to any young coach because, first of all, he's going to be gone in a year or two. And you're going to have to develop a new quarterback in that thing. You're going to have to acquire a new quarterback. I don't know. It's a bad situation. Bad situation. Anyway, screw you, Aaron Rodgers. I hope that Sunday is your last game in the NFL, and I hope to never hear from you again. College playoffs. Let's talk about that. Yesterday's show, I ran out of here so that I could get home to watch the, what was it? The Sugar Bowl? Was that what it was? The Sugar Bowl? Played by Georgia, University of Georgia, and my Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I know. I did this funny thing watching the game last night, yesterday afternoon. You have to understand, as a Notre Dame fan, we've been here before. I mean, are you kidding me? I've seen my team play in, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 national championship games, or at the very least before the playoff system, like in major bowl games that would have had them ranked number 1 at the end. I've seen this many times in my life as a Notre Dame fan. And I've also seen us get our ass handed to us by LSU, by Georgia, by Clemson. I mean, you know, it's just what happens. Notre Dame plays for the national championship and loses by 45. That is how we do. So yesterday wasn't the national championship, but it was the Sugar Bowl, and it was against Georgia, and Georgia's a very good program. Notre Dame's a good program too, but Georgia in recent years has certainly been the dominant program in football. Kirby Smart and all the nonsense he's got going on down there. So I assumed that Notre Dame, my Irish, were going to get their asses kicked. And they didn't. They played really well. Look, yes, Carson Beck was out, but this Gunnar Stockton, this quarterback for Georgia, I think is better than Carson Beck. And I think we're going to see that next year. So the quarterback situation wasn't what I thought. The quarterback was a lot better than I thought. I don't know. I really do think it was just Notre Dame is a really good team. That coach just has those kids' heads in the right place. Marcus Freeman is just terrific. He has just been terrific. All three. Is this his third year or his fourth year? I think it's his fourth year. Anyway, very excited. Notre Dame will now move on to play Penn State. We've got 4 teams remaining. We're into the Final Four of the college football playoff system. It started with 12. We're down to 4. Notre Dame will take on Penn State. I don't know what that is. Is that even a bowl game? That's next Thursday. That's something they made up? I don't know. It is the college playoff semifinals, Notre Dame and Penn State. And then, of course, the other one is Texas and Ohio State. Oh, look, you guys, I know that there was a lot of shit talk about the college football playoff. 12 teams. 12 teams, really? Well, man, it shook down. We got a Final Four that is worthy. We got a really good Final Four teams. Now, I say this on the Friday, 6 days out from the Thursday game. We've got 4 really good. These should be 2 good games. And again, we'll point out now, Notre Dame is going to lose to Penn State by 50. They will lose to Penn State by 50, embarrass themselves. They will embarrass all of us Notre Dame fans. We're like, yeah, because we all have that one friend who's going to be like, told you they sucked. And we're like, fuck. So I'm fully expecting to be blown out by Penn State. The game that I'm really afraid of is Texas, Ohio State. Holy shit. Does anybody want to play the Buckeyes right now? Oh my God. And quite frankly, nobody wants an all Big Ten national championship game. Nobody wanted it when it was like, it could have been an SEC nobody wants that. That's nonsense. So Penn State, Ohio State in the national championship, no thank you. You know what's funny, though, about Ohio State, though, because they really do look so good right now. They are clicking on all cylinders. The funniest part about Ohio State is that 3 weeks ago, there was a very real chance that Ryan Day was going to be fired. Ryan Day, the head coach of Ohio State, who is many people saying that he's probably the odds-on favorite at this point to win the national championship the way he's got Ohio State playing. 3 weeks ago, they wanted to fire him. That's fans. That's how fucking stupid fans are. Well, fire him. He's about to win a national championship. If you dumbass, if you had your way, you'd be in an interim situation right now. Anyway, I'm very satisfied with this first college playoff. The first 12-team college. I'm very satisfied. It was fun. This is a good thing. They're making money. We're being entertained. We've got 4 good quality elite teams in the Final Four. Penn State, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and the University of Texas. My God, that is college football. That is college football. Very good. NFL season comes to an end on Sunday. Who gives a shit, right? I mean, you Cowboy fans don't care. Cowboys got the Redskins. Bears got the Packers. I don't care. Let's get it over. I'm more interested in what's going to happen on Monday. Black Monday in the NFL historically is the day where they fire all the head coaches. So we're looking at some coaches. We're looking at Mike McCarthy. Let's be honest. We're looking at Mike McCarthy. Will Mike McCarthy survive and move into another year as Dallas head coach? I don't know. We'll see. That's Black Monday coming on Monday. Another thing that needs to be mentioned about this weekend, and this is a situation that I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. I mean, you know what? I think it's fair. I feel like this is fair. Okay. So Saquon Barkley will not take a shot at Eric Dickerson's single season rushing record on Sunday. Saquon Barkley is within striking distance. He should, if he'd played a normal game, he should pass Eric Dickerson for the NFL's record for single season rushing. He's not going to do it. They're going to bench him. Philadelphia doesn't need the game. It's a garbage game. You know, they're already in. They don't want to risk him getting hurt. They're going to need Saquon in the playoffs, and Saquon seems to be fine with it. He's like, yeah, you know what? That's fine. I'm not going to break the record. becoming the NFL's single season rushing leader, that's quite a thing. That's quite a thing. That's like Major League Baseball's home run, single season home run king. That's a good record to have. And so it's interesting to me that Saquon Barkley seems to be so comfortable with it until you start hearing why he's comfortable with it. And I had never given any thought to Saquon Barkley when he played with the Giants. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I was always like, fuck that guy, so, but I never really given much thought to him. He seems to be a really decent guy. He really does. He seems to be a really decent guy who understands ego management and understands, it's about the team. It's not about the individual. All the things that some of these guys say in a very programmed way that we roll our eyes to. When Saquon Barkley does it, and especially in a moment like this where some amazing personal aggrandizement is being denied him, that moment where he's going to stand there on the field and he's going to raise the ball and they're going to call the timeout and the scoreboard's going to say, he is denying himself that. Or he's okay with being denied that. And, the reasoning is incredible. The reasoning is because they don't want to get hurt, because this is the NFL and you play a garbage game against a team that's got nothing to lose. And, who knows? Some guy's going to be a free agent. He's looking to improve his tape. He's going to take a shot at you, so you don't want to risk that, especially when, you got a long playoff season coming up. But here's the thing. He would need one more game to do it in. Right? That's the problem with these NFL records. We have changed what a season is so many times that records that were in the 1930s and 40s when they played, 9 games or whatever, they don't look as good because they only played that many. Eric Dickerson played a 16-game season. Eric Dickerson set the record in 16 games. Saquon Barkley, in order to break the record, would have needed 17. Wasn't comfortable with that. Eric Dickerson wasn't comfortable with it. Eric Dickerson's been talking. Eric Dickerson's been like, hey, man, look, if you can't do it in 16, it ain't the record. That ain't true. It actually is the record. It doesn't matter, 17. He would have become the NFL's all-time leading single-season rusher. It would have been 17 games. But let's go back even further, okay? So the record is going to stand. It's going to remain Eric Dickerson's. Eric Dickerson set the record in 16 games back in 86. I don't know when was it? When did Dickerson set that record? Anyway, the record Dickerson broke was O.J. Simpson's. O.J. Simpson, before Eric Dickerson, was the NFL single-season rushing record. And O.J. Simpson set the record in 14 games. So I found it interesting that Eric Dickerson, who has the record and has had the record for 30 years, needed 16 games to set the record. And he broke a guy who the previous record was set in 14 games. He didn't have a problem with it then. But now that his record is about to be broken by Saquon Barkley, who is going to do it in an additional game, now all of a sudden ED's like, hey, now. Anyway, it's pretty interesting thing. And I think the guy who comes out looking the best in this whole thing is Saquon Barkley. Congratulations to Saquon Barkley. An incredible season. Incredible season. Hey, we got a death. We got 2 deaths. We'll talk about 2 deaths here. Wayne Osmond. He was one of the Osmond guys. One of the Osmond brothers, the Osmonds. And we all know Donnie and Marie, or at least I do. Some of you don't even know Donnie and Marie. Although, can we talk about Marie? Oh my God. Marie Osmond. Will you stop, Marie Osmond? Stop with the forbidden fruit. Stop with because she's like, Marie Osmond is doing a new commercial. She's in this TV commercial for some pharmaceutical. Of course, it's a pharmaceutical. She's taking some pill, a memory pill or something. Marie Osmond's got to be 70 years old, and she is gorgeous. Still. She's like, I'm Marie Osmond, and sometimes getting older, I forget some things. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't forgotten how hot you are. Marie Osmond. She's great. Forbidden fruit, too, because, you know, she's like, she doesn't give it out. She doesn't put out. Marie Osmond doesn't put out. Marie Osmond never put out. She's a Mormon. Mormon? Yeah, that's what they are. They're Mormons, right? And then there's something. Anyway, she is beautiful. Oh, forbidden fruit. You can look, but you can never touch. Oh, man. Anyway, her brother Wayne died. Wayne Osmond was a guitar player in the Osmonds, and he sang. He was dopey looking. You know, he wasn't handsome like Donnie or Marie. As a matter of fact, all the other Osmonds are kind of weird looking. You ever seen Jimmy Osmond? He was like the youngest one. They tried to make him Michael. They tried to like force Jimmy Osmond on the world around 1978. We were all like, nope, no, he's a doughy, weird looking kid. What is going on here? Breaking news. Johnson is hold on. We got to go back to the speaker vote. Something's happening.
Okay, that's it. Mike Johnson, Republican of Louisiana, elected to be Speaker of the House after one ballot. After we had a couple of switched votes there, as you heard. After huddling with some of the members who opposed him, Mike Johnson has won their support.
Easy.
Is, the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
All right. Easy peasy. Everybody's like, oh, this is going to make... Nah, people crumble when they get what they want. It's all transactional. None of these people are on principle. All of these people are transactional. So there you go. We avoided that big nonsense. Good for them. Good for them. This is good. This is a good show for the Republicans. This is good for the Republicans because it would have been very embarrassing if they have control of everything and they still can't agree with themselves. So this was good. Good for them. All right. And Wayne Osmond is still dead. He was like 90. I don't know. No, 73. 73. Not that old. Not that old at all. All right. We got another death we need to talk about. Jocelyn Wildenstein. Yeah. You never heard of her, but you saw her. You know who she is. She was, she's like I have no idea who she is. I have no idea who she is. I just know we all know her because she's gross. She's like some rich lady who got addicted to plastic surgery. We called her the Catwoman, remember? That's her. Look at her. You know that lady. You've seen this lady before. Her name is Jocelyn Wildenstein. She's dead. All right, let's learn about her, shall we? Let's see here. Catwoman. She's a billionaire? There's a lot of billionaires. There's a lot of billionaires. Eccentric billionaire Jocelyn Wildenstein has died at the age of 84. Her partner has announced. Her partner. All right, so let's work through this. Let's work through that choice of word. Her partner. Typically, the lazy mind would go, she's gay. Because that's how gay people says it. It's not how gay people say it anymore now that there's legalized gay marriage. You know, now it's my husband, whatever. I think she's got a partner. I think it's probably heterosexual. I don't think this is like her lesbian partner. I think she's got a partner. Here's what I'm thinking before I read more, and I could be wrong, just like James Parker is all the time. I think it's because she's a billionaire. She ain't marrying anybody when she's like 84 years old. You know, I think that's why it's partner. It's like, okay, so let's keep going. Let's see what her deal was. Oh, here's a worse picture of her. Okay, here we go. Look at this. Hold on, we're going to share this one. Good Lord. Yikes. Okay, let's just leave that up. I don't know if I could. She's a billionaire. I don't know if I could. Like, if it's like, oh, can you just like be in a relationship with her? She's a billionaire. She'll take care of everything for you. I don't know if I could. I don't know if my shit would work. You know, I think that's like a little bit too upsetting. All right, let's find out what her deal was. The socialite was famed for her extreme cosmetic surgeries, which earned her the nickname Catwoman. She has sadly died at the age of 84 years old. Jocelyn Wildenstein. Let's see here. What's her name? Okay, Lloyd Klein, Miss Wildenstein's fiance, announced the tragedy. His statement said that she had died of a pulmonary embolism in Paris on Tuesday. It said her partner Lloyd Klein is saddened. I gotta Google search Lloyd Klein. I gotta see what this guy looks like. Aren't you interested in knowing what her fiance looks like? Like, first of all, I want to know if Lloyd Klein is like over 40 because she's 84. I'm betting he's like a bartender at a gay bar. You know, now suddenly he's her fiance. All right, Lloyd Klein. Yeah, okay, we'll just do that. Jocelyn Wildenstein and Lloyd Klein. Oh my God, look at him. No way he's into that. No way. All right, here we go. We got pictures. We got pictures of the cat lady and Lloyd Klein. So there's the cat lady. Here's the guy that was with her. Here we go. Boom. Look at these two. He looks normal. He's gay. I mean, I think my gaydar is going like whoop, whoop, whoop. It's kind of got like, am I crazy? He's got like Sam Rockwell vibes, right? Yeah, I'm not crazy. Let's see here. Hold on. It's very Sam Rockwell right here. And this is very gay. He's a gay man. And she's like, he loves me for me. No, he doesn't. He's a gay man. You're a billionaire and you look like a goddamn lion. Look at that. There he is. He's had a little plastic surgery himself. Quite a bit. Not crazy young. Like I thought he would be like super young and buff. But no, he looks... Whoa, what is... Okay, we got to get out of here. All right, we got to get out of here. I can't do this anymore. That's crazy. All right, cat lady's dead. How would you know her? I don't know. Were you ever in line at a Jewel? Were you ever in line at a Kroger? You look at a National Enquirer and you see a lady who looks like a cat? That's her. She was on those for years. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Cat lady is dead. I hate this story. I don't want to do this story. I hate this story. Of course, it comes with a picture. We got to look at this picture. We got to look at the picture. Oh, my God. Look at this. Yeah, there it is. Here's the picture. I'll show it to you. Why am I showing this picture? This is the saddest story of the day. This story sucks. You see that? See what we're looking at there? All right, so this is some whale. This is some orca that's like in the bay. I don't know, where is it? Like Seattle or something? Hold on. Where is it? Pacific Northwest orca. I don't know, whatever. This is somewhere like up in the Pacific Northwest, like Seattle or something. So here, what we have here is we've got a mama orca, a killer whale. So we call them orcas because killer whale, that sounds like bad branding. She's an orca and her baby's dead. And that's her little baby orca. You see her fin. See, here's her fin. And then you see her little baby orca. And you see her head here in the water. She's carrying her little dead baby calf. They call them calves. She's carrying her dead baby calf. And they expect her to do this for like weeks. This is her mourning process. And how do we know it? Because she did it before. She did it before. This is not something that's necessarily common with orcas, but it is common with this orca. This orca had another dead calf a couple of years ago, and she swam around for 3 weeks with the dead. That is the... Moms. Holy crap, man. Seriously. Is that a... I don't know what to make of that story. It's like a bummer story. It's a bummer story, but it's also, it's like, let's hear it from moms. You know? I mean, can't deny it. That's nature right there reminding us. Yeah. What should we do here? Oh, let's talk about this one here. Rudy Giuliani. You know, Rudy Giuliani, everybody owes him money, or he owes everybody money. Rudy Giuliani's like a complete financial bubblehead at this point. Everything's falling apart on him. He's got like 1 million different judgments against him. And, you know, he owes this person money, he owes that person money. And a judge is like, hey, you got to start liquidating your shit. And I don't know if he's like slow rolling it because, you know, Trump, and he's like, my buddy's going to bail me out of it. I don't know what he's thinking, but he's not paying people what the courts are saying he needs to pay people. So now they're liquidating everything. They liquidated his summer home. He's got no car. They took all of his stuff. There's one thing, though, that a judge today is considering holding Rudolph Giuliani, once America's mayor, in contempt of court for and locking him up behind bars. Rudy Giuliani will not give up his Yankee World Series rings. Now, I might be wrong. I don't remember when he played for the Yankees, but apparently he was a Gold Glove center fielder for a number of years. And he's got... Now, here's the deal. So when he was mayor of New York, the Yankees were winning World Series, and Steinbrenner, every year they'd win a World Series, he would give a ring to the mayor. Whoever was the mayor of the city would get a ring, and so they won a whole bunch of them, so he's got like 4 of them. Now, Rudy Giuliani says that he gave these Yankee rings to his sons, or his son Andrew, and it's a gift now, even though it was something that, you know, was a part of his net worth. Although they're not as important. It's not a lot of money. It's like $27,000 for like 4 World Series rings. I mean, it's a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but you would think, like, you see how gaudy they are. You're like, that's a $2 million ring. Now they're like 10 grand. Seriously, these championship rings, they're not that great. They make a shit ton of them. Everybody gets one. Anyway, he won't give up his Yankee rings. He's like, I gave them to my son. They're a gift. You can't do this. It's wrong. And the judge is like, we can take whatever we want. You listed that as something that you have. We got to sell those damn Yankee rings. All right, so there you go. What's happening with him? He might go to jail over his Yankee rings. What else do we have here? Okay, let's end on this. This is a story. This happened back in May. This happened like months ago, and it's just now coming out. This is what happens. I think this has something to do with freedom of information and the availability of police body cams and whatnot. I think that if it's not released by the department themselves, while the story is, in the mainstream, I think then you have to just wait and you have to apply for a freedom of information and you have to look through this stuff. Anyway, that's my understanding of why sometimes these things pop up and you're like, did this just happen? And they're like, no, this happened 9 months ago. So Ice-T, of course, hip hop star Ice-T, one of the great personalities, one of the most important people from that gangsta hip hop era, not because of his contributions to the genre. His music is, he's not Nas, he's Ice-T. What I'm talking about, his mainstream appeal and how Ice-T went from being public enemy number one. I'll tell you the story. Back in like 89, 90, I was walking down a street in Chicago and there was a bus. I was walking in front of one of the theaters there. I'm not even sure which theater it was, but there was a bus out front that said Body Count. And it was Ice-T's tour bus. He was playing there. And we were like, wow, I wonder if Ice-T's on there. So we knocked on the door. There was like 4 of us. We just went, gank, gank, gank. And they opened the door and we walked in and it was Ice-T just sitting right there in the bus. He's like, what's up, man? We're like, hey, we were just wondering if this was you. And Ice-T looked at my friend Mike and said, well, it's me. Now what? And we were like, yeah. That's Ice-T gave us an Ice-T moment. For a split second, we thought he was going to beat us up because that's his whole thing. Ice-T is hard. That's his whole thing. So it was cool. And he smiled and we got off the bus and we went, that's cool. But you have to understand that at that time when he was touring with his band Body Count, they were the most hated. I mean, if you can think of how Marilyn Manson was at some point, or I'm trying to think if there's anybody recently that's been like that. They had a song called Cop Killer. Their song was Cop Killer. The song was about a guy who was from the perspective of a guy who was going around just randomly killing cops. So obviously that was a problem. Ice-T was public enemy number one. That was like 30 years ago. Now Ice-T has spent like 20 years playing a cop on SVU or SUV. I don't even know what that show is. Anyway, Ice-T and for we give credit to Ice Cube as well. Both of the Ice Boys, they have completely changed their brand. The perception that the public had of these two people has been incredibly, incredibly changed. I mean, if it's possible, think of it like this. This would be like if in 40 years, George Santos gets nominated to the Supreme Court and we're like, yeah, we're for it. We like George Santos now. Seriously, that's the transformation for guys like Ice-T and Ice Cube NW. And come on, man. It was crazy. The regular average American would have put these people in jail on principle back in the day. Now you got Ice Cube selling old white ladies reverse mortgages on TV in the middle of the day. That's a level of trust that is just crazy. Anyway. So Ice-T has completely changed his reputation, and Ice-T has gone on to be a cop, and he plays a cop, and he's really friendly with cops. Cops love Ice-T. It's like you always see him at these like cop benefits and stuff now, and Ice-T believes that his earlier ideas about law enforcement were not wrong. He thinks that law enforcement, especially Los Angeles police back in the 1980s and 70s when he was coming up, they were violent street gang members themselves. That's how he saw them. But he's also says that, his presence now, he can be somebody, especially playing a cop and holding the views that he has, his personal views about policing and communities and being a cop. He is in a unique position where he can sort of speak to these things. And that's what he's done for like 30 years and people love him. Ice-T is not scary anymore. TV star, seriously, he's been on that SVU show for like 20 years. Okay, so Ice-T gets pulled over in New York, Hudson County. I think this is Hudson County, New York, just outside of New York City. So this is like, I'll tell you this. If you're wondering, what kind of an area was he pulled over in? This is where the Sopranos lived. Tony Soprano, where Tony Soprano lived, and his kids went to private school and all that. It was this part of New Jersey, Hudson County, right there, right across from Manhattan. It's very nice. It's not a big county. It's nice. The point is this: he probably lives somewhere around there. Ice-T, he shoots Law and Order SVU in Manhattan, so he's probably got a nice family house there in New Jersey where he lives. I'm sure of it. So he gets pulled over by a Hudson County police officer. Let's watch the police stop. We're going to let it play out. I'm going to talk about it. A lot of interesting stuff here. This is not the clip that you might see going on Twitter today. There's some butchered clip. I got the raw camera from YouTube, so we're just going to watch this. It went squirrely. This was not a good play. But who do you blame for this? Let's watch. Here you go. Ice-T, I'm sorry, being Law and Order star, Ice-T, traffic stop. Let's get some sound.
You know your registration expired.
All right,
Sir. What's up, officer? Officer, just let you know you're being recorded, okay?
I'm headed to the DMV. That's where I'm going to get all my registration and everything.
You know your registration expired since 2021.
That's where I'm going.
So you have your license expired as well.
That's why I'm going to the DMV. Give me my paperwork here.
Yo, don't touch me. Don't
give me
like that.
Give me my paperwork. Get this on camera.
Legendary rapper and actor Ice-T, best known for his role as Detective Odafin Tutuola on Law & Order, was pulled over in New Jersey for what looked like a missing front plate on his Porsche. Things took a turn when officers found his registration and license were expired, leading to a heated exchange with the star. Here's how it all went down.
All right, so there you go. That's a good little, this is where we're jumping in. He is in a Porsche GT3, I think, and he's pulled over. So he pulls into a parking lot, and the cop gets out. And as the cop is talking to this, guy in a super expensive car, I mean, this is a cop. I don't think the cop knows who he is, and I think the cop might be thinking that maybe this is a gangster or something. I don't know, but it turns out this car that Ice-T is driving has expired plates. It has no sticker on the window. What do they call it? Registration sticker. And his actual driver's license is suspended. They're saying suspended, but it was suspended because it was expired. So it's not like he got suspended for being a bad driver. It's just that he never got his driver's license renewed. And apparently in New Jersey, if that goes like a period of time, they just suspend you, and that forces you to have to come in and take the test all over again. So anyway, that's the situation that the cop is discovering right now. Expensive car, this guy who's kind of got a hot attitude, but that's Ice-T. Like if you knew who Ice-T was and he was kind of giving you that talk, you wouldn't think he's being an asshole. You just think you're having an Ice-T moment like me on the bus when he looked at us and said, yeah, now what? And we all laughed and we're like, awesome, right? Okay, so let's watch.
Kilo comes back, negative stolen, 2015 Porsche 911, two-door, color gray. Registration expired.
Step on one.
All right, here we go. Now, this is important. This is really important, this camera freeze right here. Let me show you this. See this building right here? See this building, this parking lot right here? You can see this is some sort of state vehicle. There's some other state vehicles here. This building right here. This is the New Jersey Department of Motor Vehicles, where Ice-T was going to get his car registered and to get his driver's license fixed. Apparently, Ice-T's got a shit ton of cars. This is one of like 7 cars, I think he says. This is one of 7 cars that he has had garage kept. And he's got some time off now. It's the holidays. You know what he's going to do? He's going to, well, no, I guess this was in May. So we can't apply. It's the time of year. So he's taking his car and he's getting all his shit handled. And he's driving to the license place. He's in the parking lot right now of the place where he says he's going to get all of this stuff handled. And you'll see when the cop asks him for all of his documentation, he's got a FedEx envelope right there on the driver's seat filled with everything, which kind of supports the idea that he was going right there to the driver's license place to get this stuff all handled. But this cop doesn't believe any of it. First of all, though, look at that ride, man. Look at that. 20 years of Law and Order SVU. That's one of 7 cars he's trucking around in.
How's it going, sir?
What's up, officer?
Officer Silla, Hudson County Sheriff's Office. Let you know you're being recorded, okay?
I'm headed to the DMV. That's where I'm going to get all my registration and everything straight on this car.
At
Hey,
first,
look at that. He's got all of his shit there, and it's in a FedEx thing, which means that he probably called his people in LA and said, yo, man, I got to get my shit handled. Can you just FedEx me everything that I need? You know that's what he did. He's got it right there. He's like, here's all my stuff. I'm going right there. All right, I'm going to park and I'm going to walk into that building.
first, everything appeared to be normal as a simple traffic stop, but things would soon escalate between the actor and the officer.
You know your registration expired since 2021.
That's where I'm going. I'm headed right there.
When did
So the registration on this car has been expired for 4 years.
you decide to go and change?
Yesterday, I went yesterday, but they...
Yeah, but what I'm saying is your registration been expired since 2021.
The car's been parked.
Are you sure?
Yeah, of course I'm sure.
Car has been parked. Are you sure? Well, yeah, I'm sure. He's Ice-T. He's probably got one of those Jay Leno garages where all of his cars are lined up. But this guy doesn't know who he is. So this guy thinks that it's just some banger in a fancy drug car giving him some bullshit because he happens to have been pulled over in front of the DMV. This cop's an asshole.
That's why I'm today, but they...
When he says, are you sure? He's calling him a liar. That is cop talk for you're lying to me and I'm not dumb. So if you want to make sure that I don't charge you with lying to an officer, that's what the cop is doing there when he says, it's been parked. Are you sure? And that's why Ice-T gets pissed. He's like, yeah, I'm sure, motherfucker. What is going on here? Do you not know who I am? He doesn't want to do that. Let's see if he does. Let's see if at any point Ice-T goes, do you know who I am?
When did you decide to go and change?
Yesterday, I went yesterday, but they...
Yeah, but what I'm saying is your registration been expired since 2021.
The car's been parked.
Are you sure?
Yeah, of course I'm sure. That's why I'm trying to get this car set up to roll. Yesterday I went to the DMV and they said that their system was down, so that's where I'm headed. I got 7 cars. I'm trying to get them all straight.
All right, so you hear what he just said? He said, yeah, look, I came by here yesterday, but they said their computers were down, so now I'm back here again. That's why I'm here. And he's like, uh-huh. I bet that's all true. I bet that's all true. Haven't you ever been to one of these bureaucratic department of whatever and like something's fucked up, so you got to come back another time? That is true. And this guy is just not believing anything. This cop is like, yeah, right, whatever. Are you sure it's been parked for 4 years, pal?
You say you went to DMV yesterday? They said the system is down?
Yesterday, yep.
What time was your appointment yesterday?
I didn't have an appointment. They just take me.
The DMV, you don't make an appointment. You just show up. What is this cop doing? Unless that's a question like the cop wanted him to say, well, the officer was 115. And then he'd go, they don't take appointments there. Like, is that what the cop was trying to do? Because if he did, ICE handled it.
DMV yesterday, they said the system is down?
Yesterday, yep.
What time was your appointment yesterday?
I didn't have an appointment. They just take me.
You need to have an appointment to go to DMV.
I don't need one.
Why is that?
Because they know me.
Okay, all right, so that's the closest we've gotten to him going, motherfucker, do you know who I am? I mean, I'm not a bad guy. This is all reasonable. We can work this out if we're just normal people. It's like, man, they know me there. Ice-T's like, look, man, I walk in that place, they all know me. I'm sorry. Do you know how many 50-year-old black people are working in there? I am huge with them. They love me at the DMV.
They know you.
I don't need one.
Why is that?
Because they know me.
Because they know you.
Because they know you. See, he has no idea that he's dealing with a global celebrity, somebody who is well known all around the world.
Is your passport? Do you have a driver's license with you?
Yeah. I'm getting that. That has. That's expired.
So you have your license expired as well?
That's why I'm going to the DMV.
Sir, even if it's 1 feet, you cannot drive with an expired license.
All right, so now the cop is going to lecture him. He's like, sir, even if it's just 1 foot, you cannot drive with an expired... Oh, this cop's an asshole. This is a bad cop. This is a cop who does not know how to be a normal person with people in the community that he is supposed to be serving and protecting. This is a cop who is looking to be the big man here. Sir, I'm going to lecture you now. Sir, I don't know if you know this or not, but when your driver's license is suspended, you can't drive 1 foot.
Expired. Sir, even if it's 1 feet, you cannot drive with an expired license and expired registration.
I mean, why don't you follow me right to this garage right here? The DMV is right there. You don't got to be that serious about this.
All right, see, now Ice-T is like, man, look. And he's pointing out his window to the parking lot that he needs to be in to do all this. Come on, man. You don't need to be. Come on. This is that's a normal. His response is no. The cop's not being normal. The cop is being like a.
I mean, you can, but you don't have to.
Well, is it serious? So,
it's serious. He doesn't have his paperwork for his car. It's very serious.
Give me 1 second.
Walk to the DMV. I could park the car right here and then...
I mean, we're literally looking at the DMV. This is the DMV right here. This is where you see this car, right? This is like madness.
Walk to the DMV.
Well, here's what the cop should do in this situation. Here's what the cop should do. If the cop was a normal fucking person, the cop goes, hey, man, all right, you got some shit here. Why don't you just leave the car here, all right? Lock it up, walk on over there, get your stuff taken care of. Hopefully, next time I see you out here, you're going to be completely taken care of. That's all you need to do. That's all the cop needs to do. Now, cop, get back in the street and try and stop someone from breaking into someone's house or something instead of fucking with a global celebrity being an absolute dick about it.
That's 566.
5'6", I'm good. I'm without arrow.
Those are all the things.
You said you have other vehicles registered?
I have 7 vehicles.
Okay.
Receipt. Do you want me to start the hood?
It's 5'6". It's the standby. You could have drive the other vehicle who was registered and get this one registered.
Can I handle this? You gonna take me to jail?
I'm not going to take you to jail.
Okay, can I park the car here and walk to the DMV?
I'm going to tow your vehicle.
He's going to tow his fucking car. Fire this cop right now. Put him. No, you know what? Don't fire him. I don't want anybody's livelihood taken away from him. Put him behind a desk. This cop is not allowed to deal with the public anymore. He's going to tow the car?
You're not going to tow my vehicle. Let me park my car right here.
You're not going to move your car, sir. You give me your keys right now, and I'm going to tow your vehicle. You try to be more respectful with me, I'm going to respect you the same way.
Well, then let me... You see I'm going to...
No, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to tell you what to do. So give me your keys right now. If you're going to go that route.
I asked you, can I park my car right
I said
here?
not. Give me your keys, sir.
He's complying. He's doing absolutely everything. He is not posing any threat. He is verbally challenging the officer on some of the things he's being asked to comply with, but he is not being, well, let's keep watching.
If I'm not under arrest, then I'm getting out of my car.
By the way, those black marks are just because he's holding up in cards, personal information, you know, addresses, phone numbers, that kind of stuff. So that's what those blacks are. They're, you know, you get it.
Give me my paperwork here.
No, don't touch me. Don't
Give me
like that.
Give me my paperwork. Get this on camera. This motherfucker is. I am a foot away from DMV.
Keep your distance.
You are a fucking asshole.
I'm not an asshole. You've been an asshole to me.
No, he hasn't been an asshole. No, Officer Jackoff. He has not been an asshole. He has been Ice-T, which maybe the default setting is slightly assholey, but no, he has not been an asshole. You have been an asshole.
I'm an asshole. I'm trying to get to the DMV. I showed you all the paperwork. Let me start recording your dumb ass.
So 5-6, start the hook and start me out the unit.
So now he's calling backup. Wait till the backup shows up and goes, why are you fucking with Ice-T?
You're in the parking lot for Dunkin' Donuts, right?
So here's something that I enjoy. In a couple of seconds here, you're going to see that Ice-T starts to get recognized. And people from the strip mall start coming out and hanging out with Ice-T, while this cop, who doesn't know anything about who this person is treating him like he's some kind of local coke dealer.
5-6.
Irish Communications 201 Bergen Line, where the Dunkin' Donuts. Catch the reach.
We don't need this. Just fast forward. Okay, here we go. Now, the sheriff has shown up. This is this guy's boss. Okay, so now the top cop has shown up. I don't know if Ice-T, he seems to have called somebody. I don't know what's going on, but the top cop has shown up, and everything is being recorded. As a police officer, you have to understand, you can't show favors for people. You cannot let somebody go because they're, because they've done all these charity events for you and, whatever. You can't do it. So let's see how this guy right here handles it when Ice-T is being harassed by one of his cops who has no idea what's going on. Oh, look, the fans are here now. You got some ladies showing up. They're like, aren't you Ice-T?
What's up, Sarge?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Sarge? As he gets out, like Ice-T's like, what's up, Sarge? Who's this fucking guy? And then the Sarge has got to be cool about it because he knows he's being, recorded.
So what happened, Sarge?
What's up, Sarge?
Hey, what's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm trying to get to DMV.
What's going on, brother? How are you? That cop, these are two people who know each other.
To register my cars.
Okay.
I got all the paperwork and everything there. I asked officer, could I just go over here or even park my car so that I could walk over there and get all my paperwork together? He says he wants to tow my car.
All right, give me a second. Let me find out what's going on here, and then we'll figure something out, okay?
Okay.
Right.
You're doing a little too much, Sarge.
Okay, so what I was going to do is just issue him a ticket, let him park here. Okay. He jumped out of the vehicle. He didn't even ask me. He came so close to me. And he said, he called me an asshole. He called me an asshole, and he said, give me all the paperwork right now. All right. And everything's been recorded.
All right, so we just watched that. Do we think that's an accurate... the police officer certainly did make it seem like Ice-T was more aggressive than I think he presented himself. That happens a lot. Police reports. Now that we got body cams, we're going back. You police reports that don't reflect what the actual body cam says it all happened. But all right, so there we go. I don't agree with his, he's not lying, but he's being a little bit.
An asshole. He said, give me all the paperwork right now. All right. And everything's been recorded. And your vehicle's been towed. And you're receiving tickets. Used for right now for tactical purposes.
The officer received permission to issue the actor 4 tickets, including one for driving with a suspended license.
All right, so let's fast forward a little bit here. So let's recap now what's going on. Ice-T from Law and Order SVU, whatever, gets pulled over in his home neighborhood there in New Jersey. He's taking his Porsche GT3 to the DMV. He's in the parking lot of the New Jersey DMV. He's taking it there to get it all street legal and licensed up. He gets pulled over while pulling in to the DMV. Cop pulls him over. And now he's having this little tete-a-tete with this officer who is saying he wants to tow the car, and it's getting out of hand. A second officer, a higher-ranking officer, has shown up on the scene now. This officer knows Ice-T, and Ice-T knows him. They called him brother. So now this new cop, who is an authoritative, he's the higher-ranking cop. He's there now. He kind of realizes that this lesser cop doesn't really know that this isn't how we treat the people who are, got our backs, and because that's a very big thing. He's very active in like police causes, especially in that area. So this cop is like, yeah, dude, do you know who that is? But he can't say that because he's got a body camera and the other guy's got a body camera. So let's see how this sheriff tries to influence the other officers want to have the car towed and to issue 4 tickets.
Okay. Up to you. Whatever you want to do.
Here we go. All right. So now here is the sheriff talking to the first officer. And the sheriff is like, so tell me what's going on here.
What's up, Sarge? Oh, shit. I forgot to.
What's up, Sarge? Here's how it starts.
What's up, Sarge? Oh, shit. I forgot to. All right, you can issue him a ticket, and that's going to be it, right? He's going to leave the car here?
So the sergeant leans in and says, so you're going to issue him a ticket, and we're going to leave the car here. So you're going to issue him a ticket, a single ticket, and you're going to leave the car here.
Up to you. Whatever you want to do. Yeah, we'll go with that.
So now the arresting officer who wanted to tow the car and issue 4 tickets is like, it's up to you. Whatever you want to do. He's starting to understand now that for some reason this sergeant is trying to make this a little bit less of a thing.
What's up, Sarge? Oh, shit. I forgot to. All right, you can issue him a ticket, and that's going to be it, right? He's going to leave the car here? Up to you. Whatever you want to do. Yeah, we'll go with that. Okay? You're going to leave the car here? Okay. Yeah, he's going to park the car here. No problem. Go across the street and get the paperwork for the car. Okay, but he's getting 4 tickets, though.
All right, so now the officer is like, no, but he's getting 4 tickets. Okay, so he doesn't. We're not going to tow the car, but he's getting 4 tickets.
All right, the paperwork for the car. Okay, but he's getting 4 tickets, though. All right, okay.
Because again, the sergeant knows everything's being recorded. Sergeant's like, all right, whatever. Fine. He's super wealthy. He'll be able to pay the 4 tickets.
But he's getting 4 tickets, though. All right, okay. Driving a registered motor vehicle, driving with an expired license. Okay. Improper display, he got no front plates and no inspection sticker. Okay.
Bullshit, bureaucracy, nonsense, paperwork fines. That's all. They're not making the streets safer. This is just how you get that new stoplight down on Main paid for.
How many did you make out already?
All right, so now the sergeant is like, all right, so the sergeant is settled on, all right, fine, I'm not going to fight you about the 4 tickets. But now the sergeant is saying, so how many did you make out already? Just, if you haven't made out all 4, let's talk a little bit about this.
How many did you make out already? What's that? 4. You made 4? You already sent them in?
So you made 4 tickets and you already sent them into the computer?
Not yet.
Not yet, says the other cop. So now you got a sergeant who can, sergeant, that's a good sign for the sergeant. He's okay, let's not do those 4 tickets. You didn't send them in yet. We still don't. Let's see how this goes.
Yes. What's that? 4. You made 4? You already sent them in? Not yet.
Yes? Can you bring it down to 2?
All right, so now the sergeant's like, okay, you haven't sent him in. Can you bring it down to 2 tickets? The sergeant's trying to negotiate on behalf of Ice-T.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. No, it's up to you, bro. I can't tell you. Okay. All right.
And then he says no. He says, no, Sarge, I can't bring it down to 2. And then the sergeant's response is, yeah, okay, I can't tell you what to do. Because the sergeant knows he's recorded on body cam. In the days before body cam, the sergeant would be like, look, you little fucking dumbass, we need this guy to come out and do a charity event next month, and you're fucking it up for, that's what would happen if there was no body cam. But we're seeing this weird dance of, can you bring it down to 2? No? Okay, well, hey, I can't tell you what to do. I just want to make sure we get that on record. I'm saying into the body cam, I'm the sergeant. I can't tell you what to do. I know that. Can you bring it down to 2 maybe? And maybe he parks the car instead of not getting it towed?
I can't tell him as a sergeant.
All right, so now he's got to go back to Cube, because I'm sure when he was talking to Q or T the first time, he probably said, look, Ice-T, I'm going to go handle this. And Ice-T's like, you better handle your boy. He's like, I'm going to go handle this. And so he goes over there and he talks to him. That's what we just watched. So now here he is. He's got to come back to Ice-T and tell him that he's getting 4 tickets.
I can't tell him as a sergeant what to do. I can guide him and I can make a recommendation.
I can guide him and I can make a recommendation.
He's going to give you 4 tickets, okay? I asked him not to give you the 4 tickets, but he could bring it down to 2. He said, no, he's giving you the 4 tickets.
What are the 4 tickets?
He says you have no front plate, no inspection sticker, no registration, and your driver's license is expired.
Okay.
All right.
All right, that's fine. I'm a super rich guy. I don't know if you know this. I'm a super rich guy, and I'm just going to give these tickets to a lawyer, and they're going to handle it, and fuck that guy. All right.
I did, yeah. I did.
Okay. All right.
So I know if you want to come with me or...
Yeah.
So I know you want to come with me.
Okay. So they know that you're not going to... Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if he told you, but everything's being recorded on these body cameras, so... Okay.
So, as for my sergeant, we're not going to tow your vehicle, but you're receiving summonses. Here's your keys. Here's your paperwork, driver's license, everything you gave me. You're receiving a ticket for no front plates.
Where's all the other paperwork?
It's in there. Everything you gave me. It's in the vehicle.
Even it's in the vehicle. He's a shitty attitude cop.
You have no inspection, driving expired registration, and driving with expired license.
You're, like I said, you're gonna leave the car here and just go to DMV.
I'm walking DMV and handle business.
So, but you do know your registration is expired and your license too. Right?
That's what I'm going for.
Okay, I'm just letting you know that I didn't know if you just knew your registration was expired. You got both.
I got everything.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm good.
All right, you told
Just
him
the way he treated me, I was going to park the vehicle, no tickets issued, but just next time show some respect. That's all I got to say.
I don't have to.
All right, let's
Good for you. Good for you. Next time, show some respect. I don't have to. You have to show respect to me because you are a police officer in this community. I don't have to. I should, as a decent person, show you respect, but I don't have to. And you can't make that demand of me. Although it is demanded that you show us respect. That's how it works. I'm sorry. You got all the power here. That's how it works. Ice-T was fine. Ice-T. Now, look, if some of you are saying, and I haven't even looked at the chat room, so I have no idea what some of you are going to be screaming about. Some of you have the dumbest takes. You might be saying, buddy, all of that stuff expired. Yeah, it is. That's true. And, if he had been rolling down the interstate, I might be like, fucking. He was obviously handling that very situation in that moment. This isn't a game of I'm going to catch you before you get away with it. That's not how law enforcement works. Yes, did this cop have a right to issue all of those tickets and all that? Yes, of course he did. Of course, by the letter of the law, he had the right to do that. Do cops in 2025, after the era that we've just come through, do they need to be a little cooler? Yeah, I think they do. I think that this overly hard guy, everything is a competition between me and you in this moment. And I, the officer, must win every battle, whether it's an argument or if it's an excuse that you have. That bullshit's got to stop. And that's what that cop was. That cop looked at him and treated him like he was a piece of shit from the very beginning. I don't know. I was very, look, I'm not an Ice-T fan. I mean, he's a guy. I know he's a famous guy. He's been around forever. I've seen him on TV. Seems okay. Makes me laugh from time to time. I get his bit. I get his brand. So I'm not carrying water for him. I'm just saying, in that situation, we just watched the whole thing unfold. That cop was an asshole. That cop should have gone, oh, man, you almost got to the DMV. I pulled you over. This is crazy. You're like 20 yards away. All right, go on, get in there. That's what the cop should have done. But instead, cops just take every opportunity to get sideways with the public that they're supposed to serve. Can't be cool about it, really. There's no such thing as a cool cop. Especially when he handed him the FedEx thing with all the information. There was no rifling through the glove box. Wait a second, I know I got my thing. He was obviously not only feet away from the DMV, he was also obviously prepared to do the business of getting the car registered. He had it all right there in a FedEx envelope. It's insane. Mikey D says the respect comment was because he called the cop an a-hole. Yeah, maybe. Well, the cop was being an a-hole. You're right. He probably shouldn't have done. Ice-T lost his shit for about 3 seconds. And that was it. What he was, this is fucking, and it was the madness of realizing that this cop was serious. That this cop was seriously going to be this much of a fucking jerk about it. And he did. He lost the shit for a few seconds, but he dialed it right back. He was at no point a threat, right? You hear about they pulled the tasers and all that. There was not going to get there. Everything was, here you go. He gives, even when he didn't want to, give up the car, the cop said, park the car or take the keys out of the ignition and hand them to me. He did that immediately. He went, here you go. He wasn't looking to make it a problem. The cop was looking to be a big badass and lord it over some dude in a GT3. Oh, look at this asshole in the GT3. Boo! Don't think that kind of shit doesn't play in with a lot of these cops. Look at this asshole in the Bentley. I'm going to pull him over and fuck with him. Who does he think he is, having a car whose monthly payment is what I make in a mortgage payment? Whatever. I don't know. That didn't need to happen that way. All right, guys, that's going to do it. We are done. We are out of here. Y'all have a great weekend, as Peter so articulately expressed there in the chat room. Thank you to our executive producer on today's show. She is, of course, the lovely and the talented and the always appreciated April. If you want to be tomorrow's executive producer or the executive producer on Monday, please drop a little something. Cash App, Venmo, however you want to do it. That's how we do it. We're going to start the pledge drive on Monday. So I'll let you know what the number is as we hit Monday, and we'll go from there. Other than that, have a great weekend. Love you guys. We'll meet back here on Black Monday. I am Pugs Moran. These are the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the E Gallery in beautiful Dallas's Design District. We're Radio Misfits Dallas, a subsidiary of RadioMisfits.com. Bye, everybody.